Why? Ooh, Vaz, watch out for a curveball.
Is Myles Garrett going to announce Mason Rudolph?
Yeah,
That'd
probably.
be a curveball.
Who just got taken? Anthony Schwartz.
I would have really liked.
Here we go.
Let's have a party!
All right, we're back. Night 2. My name is Jake Luke. I'm joined on my screen by just a whole host of individuals. Just a smattering of incredibly smart, intelligent, football guys, just like myself. We're doing the draft stream. It is day 2. We've been sitting around watching the draft a little bit, watching round 2. Ravens going to be on the clock here soon. You've got the Titans selecting. You've got Buffalo after them. Ravens presumably going to be picking beyond that. But, just opening it up to the panel. How you boys feeling?
Feeling good.
Cool, man.
I'm not alive. I think I slept for 3 hours.
Dude, I'm so hungover.
I'm not even I didn't get mentally hungover until after I ate Chipotle around 7.
Once you start
I was physically hungover. I could feel it in my arms and my legs.
Yeah,
all day.
It's that's fine. Once the mental hangover sets in, that's when you know it's game over. But
that's why I had to start drinking the devil's juice.
That's what I did. The same thought, and then the stimulation kicks in with the second round starting up. So we're back, man. We're back in the fold. Got an early tea time tomorrow, so that's going to be dicey. But we're having fun right now. I got
how hungover is Jonas.
Yeah, Jonas, how hungover?
I think I'd probably be able to beat Spenny at golf right now. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you could beat me at golf if I just
I'm bad at golf. I am so it's the most frustrating sport. I think
we all are, brother.
We're all bad at that sport.
If you're good at golf, shut the fuck up. That's the best way to describe people who are good at golf. Just don't talk to me, please.
Yeah, just don't be that guy that talks about it. Okay, we got some good people rolling in.
All right, boys. Last time we were hanging out, we were talking about how I was getting ready for graduation.
Rice.
And while I still have not graduated, we're one step closer.
So you're going to graduate and they're going to bring in a replacement for you to kind of just because they shouldn't overpay for average production.
Exactly. I've over exceeded. And the next thing, I got the book to put the diploma in, to put the degree in. So we're one step closer, boys.
So you're not going to frame it.
One step closer. And inside right now, I have the placeholder, which is just the 4 seasons of Colorado State University's, campus.
It's just all snow then, am I right?
Sick bird,
just wait 5 minutes. So
we're one step closer. We're one step closer.
Hey, listen, good for you. I'm happy for you.
Thanks, buddy.
So you're not going to frame it, though?
I'm going to absolutely figure something out with this degree. I don't know if I'm going to frame it, put it in the book, and then frame the book. We'll see.
I framed mine, if that does anything for you.
I probably am going to end up framing mine because after
I didn't actually do it. Old Mary Luke did it for me. So.
Yes. Shout out Mary Luke.
My mom collects our diplomas like they're trophies. Like, I helped you get here. It's mine.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's more important to them than it is to you.
My parents were. We aren't going to talk about my parents.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that. Moving on. How you guys feeling about the second day of the draft so far? Spencer, we'll start with you.
Almost on the clock.
Elijah Molden, Quinn Miners, Brevin Jordan, Hamsan Silvergreen, Spencer Brown, Stone Forsyth, Davion Nixon, Deuce Bigelow. Bring them all in.
Frank Platko.
Yo,
Frank, what's up?
This is the first
Dude,
time
you
I've
guys,
seen Frank
you got
with the
room for-
internet working.
Is it working? Is the question. We're gonna put that to the test. Oh, look at
Frank's
that!
got it on.
He's wearing the shirt of the band.
Let's go, Frank. Let's go.
sir,
That's
you guys
my
got
guy.
room. You guys got room for one more. This is a dream team.
Yeah, it's getting. We're gonna see what happens with Voss. I don't know if I can have more than 6 people in here, so we're gonna find out. But whatever. I pay.
Spencer Brown is
$100 a
gone.
year.
Spencer Brown is gone. The Ravens are on the clock.
Tylen Wallace.
What the Bills took Spencer Brown?
Another
Yeah.
one.
Tylon, and Tylon.
Bitch.
Gotta go offensive line here. Gotta think they're looking at those centers. Gotta think they're looking at Stone
Run,
Forsyth.
stuffing, defensive tackle.
Gotta think they're looking at
Pair
a
with
few players.
Brandon Williams.
Exactly.
It's got to be Stone, right? That's got to be the pick, I think.
Dan Moore, I
You're
can say
always-
too.
Frank, you're always telling me off air that you're a big stoner, so I can see why you would go down that route. Just no react.
That's not a good deflections, right?
It's not relevant. Not relevant to this conversation.
Jeez.
I'm sorry. I'm getting too used to that. All right, we got the Greek god himself getting in here too. So
Is he here?
he's here.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, Recepta box.
We got the entire site here for the
Deontay Brown is a Raven.
Deontay Brown?
No, I'm just kidding.
Stop.
say,
I
hell no.
have to write the article. I have
not
to
do
write
that.
the article. I'm free for
Are we
I don't
making,
know if I'm late.
by the way, are we making a gentleman?
Oh, the Bills took Spencer. The Bills took Spencer.
Spencer's
Damn
right
it.
there, dude.
Yeah.
Look at your screen. Are we
Thanks,
making
David
an
Johnson.
agreement?
I appreciate
to,
that, by the way.
God damn, fucking Bills.
Are we making?
Spencer Brown could realistically never start.
Are we
but-
making a gentleman's agreement to not tip the pick here and just watch the telecast?
Well,
no.
I have to write the article, so I won't tip the pick, but
You don't
I'll
have
like,
to. I mean-
I'm looking.
Okay. Listen,
I won't tip the pick. I'm just hitting F4
because I want to watch whatever jabroni they trot out there and have them break. my heart.
Jabroni. Who is it? I can't remember.
Who do you not want it to be?
Once it gets into like round 3, I don't really like have like wants or not wants. I mean, I have wants, but it's not like because like that's when they start getting weird. That's when they take like the dude from last year, Big Country, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Pick is in.
Johnny Phillips.
Yeah,
Bronson Kafusi right here.
right. That's the tight end for the Jets, Bronson Kafusi.
I feel like they could take Ben Cleveland. I feel like that's the wild card. Unfortunately, I don't want to guard, but I could see that.
I
wouldn't.
I don't like
I'd
that.
be down with Stone Forsyth.
Cody
Yeah.
said Cody McGowan saying it's Jacoby is going to be announcing it, so we're gonna.
Yeah, it is.
No,
Yeah,
that's
thank you.
not-
Yeah,
it
I
isn't.
think it's Jacoby Jones. Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Love Jacoby.
I miss Jacoby.
Spetty Sizzle. Look at that. I like that. That's pretty good. There's Xavier.
Do what?
I said, yeah, I like Spenny's name. And I said, there's Xavier again. Looking good.
He's having fun, man.
Voss, you just got to change your name to Greek God by now, dude. Come on, figure it out.
The Greek George Clooney is another.
There's a nice little shot of the war room.
They have,
Ozzy-
the
I
best,
feel like they weren't showing that, right?
they have the best draft room. Like all the other ones look like they're in cafeterias.
Ozzy has a lot more sway than.
Okay,
than
but the
people
LA
know.
Rams did frame a painted photo of Roger Goodell, and
Which
like
listen,
you,
I love our dear leader.
get
Raj,
meme points.
So I appreciate that very much. But
Mine Fura.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I appreciate it.
Pick is in.
That's wild, man.
where
Who's it going to be?
I had a bottle opener.
Saw it.
Stone?
High fiving. They're excited about something.
But
Steve Bashadi's high fiving and fist bumping and shit.
I haven't seen anything on Twitter.
My last second wild card pick is Jacoby Stevens LSU. That's my last second wild card pick.
All right, so that's it for me.
Who's your third wild card pick, Benny?
Dude, Jacoby is high as shit right now.
There it is. Jacoby put on a little weight, it looks like.
Oh,
He sounded like he took
Face at
notes
least.
mental too. He did an interview with Exit 52, and he sounded not great.
Ben Cleveland.
Come on.
Is that
Come on.
indeed who it is?
It's time to start writing. I'll be back, boys.
So was it Ben Cleveland?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
like it.
Oh, okay.
And
He's a
Cleveland.
monster. He's a monster.
That's a my guy, baby. That's a my guy.
Yeah.
Is he
That's
the
guy.
center or the guard from UGA?
He's a guard.
He's nicknamed
guard.
Big Country. Jeff Z just tweeted that.
All right, so Bozeman's the center now. Let's just establish
So is
that.
Landon
Bozeman's the
Dickerson is
center.
also big
Well,
country.
Yeah, there's too many big
Cleveland-
countries. I mean, like Tyree
Cleveland
Phillips, big country.
is very similar to Zeitler in the sense that he has an oversized like he makes you feel uncomfortable with the way that he's built. Like he shouldn't be a human. He's more like part gorilla, and he can just dent. When he down blocks, he will do the exact opposite of Bradley Bozeman. He will dent a one tech off of the line of scrimmage. He can remove them. I don't think he gave up a sack in his last whatever 1,100 whatever pass blocking snaps at the Senior Bowl. I think this is a little bit of a steal because at the Senior Bowl he was locking. No one could even get him to have to anchor. He was like tossing Boogie Basham aside, tossing people aside. Ridiculous functional strength. His feet are not as slow as a DJ Fluker or a Tyree Phillips. I think he's a lot more polished option. I think that goes to show that the Ravens were able to look at the sunk cost of maybe Ben Bredesen and of some of those other guards that they don't like. You're getting someone who is a polished, true guard. Vaz, I know you didn't really want to get a true guard, but Cleveland is an SEC experienced starter. And
No, I'm
I think
okay
he's
with
going
him.
Dog, though. I mean,
No, I'm fine with him. He's a monster. He's that was that photo going around before the the Senior Bowl. He looks like the guy from Game of Thrones with his
the
shirt
mountain, right?
The Mountain?
Yeah, and he's very
Like
good
where
at
he got
pass
the game.
protection. So he's not just like a mauler. I had him 4 interior offensive linemen above Aaron Banks from Notre Dame, who went very early in the second round. So I like this pick. I think it's a solid pick. It's not a home run, like let's do cartwheels, but I think it's a good
I think it might be a home run, man.
what do you guys think?
Home run.
What do you guys think about his chances to start this year? Would be my question.
I think
he
pretty
could start.
high.
Gotta
Yeah.
have a good shot. He's gonna be in the mix, right, with everyone
Right.
else.
I mean, like they've got.
I mean, if
Him and Ben Powers.
Bozeman kicks over to center, right? He'd be competing at left guard.
I think you don't draft him if he's with all these other centers they have. I just don't think you're going to take him if the plan isn't for him to immediately highly compete. Why are you not going to let that? Everybody's pretty much all of us. This whole website, it feels like a lot of other websites are saying, someone will be able to come out of that guard room and take a job. Ben Powers, whoever it is. And I think they're admitting fault, which is smart, and you love to see cut the loss as quickly as possible with some of these other picks. And I feel like this is a sneaky pick for someone that could start for a long time. I'm not sure what his injury was. I think it might have been ankle at the Senior Bowl, but I think he just kind of erred on the side of caution. He's a 9 RAS tester too. I'm pretty sure he's a high 9 RAS tester at 350 pounds. So I think this is a big time potential guy that you look at in 5-7 years and you're like, wow, they hit a home run.
No doubt. Hey, let's start to interrupt, but let's get some instant reactions also going while we're doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So how many guys is that now competing for the one guard spot? That's like 4 guys at least, right?
That's 4. Well, all right, you're going to say TCC is a center. Macari, I would imagine Macari, Powers, Bredesen, Phillips. I don't know. Are they going to make Phillips a tackle full time because they haven't been able to land a tackle? But yeah, it's a pretty deep group for sure.
It's intriguing, man. And I don't know, man. I kind of feel like Cleveland probably going to start. Like I didn't know a ton about him. I watched a little bit, liked what I saw. Spencer was, I think, pretty high on him from when he went to the Senior Bowl, from what I recall. So I'm into that, man. I know you guys were maybe not wanting that kind of true guard type situation. You maybe wanted to tackle, but I don't know. Like you solidify left to right. You got Ronnie Stanley. You plug him in at left, potentially, and then Bozeman at center, which might be an upgrade for Bozeman. Zeitler at right. Villanueva.
I probably would have rather had. Is it Miners, right?
Yeah, Quinn
I keep
Minor.
hearing people saying it differently, but yeah, Miners.
Didn't
Minor.
Miners take some snaps at center at the Senior Bowl, Spencer?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. He's really new to center as well. I think people were thinking he was a little small. I mean, Quinn Miners is like 320, something like that. I think he, has been working at center. I watched Jeff Schwartz's Big Boys Club, which was awesome, and he was talking about that. But that would definitely be really new to him. So maybe not someone you want to come in and immediately hand over the snapping duties to. And it would be taking a guard and making him a center, which is something that I think I've softened on since the season ended. But like after that Bills game, I was like, no more non-lifetime centers. That's why everyone wanted Creed Humphrey. You want a lifetime center that is going to be consistent, simply fucking snapping the ball and understanding the communication involved and all that good stuff. Bozeman, I've been on that train for so long. Move him to center. Bozeman can't damage an athletic or a monster. Like Bozeman has to be perfect in order to be able to work downhill or drive block or crash, anything. And it feels like they said they had a plan. Bozeman was a lifelong center. I'm pretty sure he played center in high school as well and some tackle. And you kick him inside, suddenly this line is gigantic. But we got to see what goes on at tackle. It feels like, again, if they're passing over Forsyth and getting Cleveland, then has to be Villanueva or Kelly that they're putting their cards in.
Which I'm fine with. Like, I feel like they can. I think I've said this before. I feel like I'm confident in their ability to kind of figure it out at right tackle. They've done that before. Wouldn't surprise me if they're able to do it again.
They still need a backup swing tackle, even if they bring in.
And Dennis
Alejandro.
Dennis Kelly has a ton of experience as like a actual swing tackle. Like that's what he's done with the Eagles and the Titans. So
you want to get both of them then? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe just him. I mean, do that and figure it out.
You think they're content with Phillips as a swing tackle type, or do you think they'll add someone else?
Like he was a third round pick, though. Like it's easy to say that it's like maybe they're not going to be thinking one way or the other, but like they thought highly enough of him to take him there. And like his feet were not great last year. He was a little slow, but
he definitely can't play left tackle. There's no way.
Well, listen, we all know that.
Well, that kind of defines swing, right? You're supposed to be able to do it a little bit, like James Hurst could be a left tackle. I mean, he was a left tackle at Carolina,
right?
No, I don't know. I think you still need another tackle, but there's still some guys out there. Jameis from Nebraska, Moore from A&M, who Spencer was talking about last night. Alaric Jackson from Iowa. We know they have that Iowa connection with Ferentz. So yeah, they could still get another tackle.
Definitely some options for sure.
How insulting is this pick to Bredesen and Macari and TCC? I mean, that's what I'm worried about.
I had to be honest.
Very good point, Frank.
They could probably trade one of those guys. I think they trade one of those guys for a 5th rounder or 6th rounder. There's Perkins,
or you can trade one in season if you have too many interior guys and try and get a player.
Well, the crunch is getting them all into the final 53.
Quinn Miners goes to the Broncos.
Miners, I mean, I liked him, but that's a big jump from Wisconsin Whitewater. That's a guy you're looking at 2022.
And he beat the snot out of people in Mobile, so I think that answered a lot of those questions for sure. But in terms of making him a center again, I think the Ravens are looking for an immediate line. I think Ben Cleveland's an immediate line move, and just in terms of familiarity, if you're looking at him at center, then that's a little bit of a projection. And I like Miners at guard. I don't know why he needs to be a center. His length isn't 31 inches. He's not undersized. He didn't seem to struggle with any sort of quickness or anything. He's really fluid, great feet, all that good stuff. But Cleveland kind of is the antithesis. Cleveland is a power-specific guard. You're putting him in a man scheme, and his anchor, he's not getting driven into the backfield, I promise you. He seems pretty intelligent with game and stuff. I think speed can give him a little bit of an issue, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they made their pick there too. Like you're talking about Miners, like they chose Cleveland, and that's that. You tweeted a little bit about how they weren't going to be trading up for Tevin Jenkins because they passed on him. I think they made their intentions clear there. I think the offensive line, I would expect that to be addressed at this point. I don't know if they're going to pick another one.
I mean, what this confirms, if there was any doubt, is Bozeman's playing center, right? I mean,
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's set in stone at this point. I don't think you make that pick if that's not pretty much nailed in.
Ronnie Perkins to the Pats. Chargers picking right now.
And I don't think that the transition to center is going to be tough for Bozeman, obviously he played center for a national.
He's been in the
championship.
offense for so long too.
And he was competing at center when we were out of training camp. Snaps, 10,000 hour thing.
Boss McKitty went to the
practice.
Chargers.
What's that?
McKitty went to the Chargers.
Ooh.
Before-
Yeah, it's about what I thought, man. A lot of these projections were saying McKitty in the 5th or the 6th, but
He's good, man.
that's a guy worth taking. That's a guy worth taking a flyer on.
Yeah, I
I
like.
think he'd learn a lot from Jared Cook because they signed him in the free agency. I think he'd be good sitting behind them for a little bit.
Yeah, Hunter Henry just left. I mean, it makes sense.
But Jordan's still hanging out there, right? Brevin
He is
Jordan?
there. Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Teams probably, they probably don't love the size. I would think, and maybe think that he's just kind of not great enough of a receiver to be a receiver, not great enough of tight end tools to be a great tight end. So I could see that, but I really like him.
Maybe Tennessee takes Jordan.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith comparison, so that makes sense. And Delaney Walker too. I thought a little bit when I watched him, so you can see that.
So this is the conundrum, right? You trade Orlando Brown, you get so basically you're trading a starter for a starter, right? And then you wait till late in the 3rd, and then you're kind of in this project developmental zone. That's where you, and of course you're only talking about 1 year of Orlando Brown, but it was a tough spot. And I wish they would have had a pick a little bit earlier because a lot of good players were taken. That second round was so chalky. I mean, it was just every single guy was a solid pick. But
Humphrey would have been nice.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting. I don't know. I just I'm kind of torn on that, but ultimately it's like you were going to get rid of him anyway, so that
I
trade.
think Villanueva will be fine too.
The other
He'll be
third,
fine at right tackle.
we'll see, especially
I don't
like
think it's
see what happens with Cleveland because like their ability to take some of these interior O line guys like on day 2, early day 3, and like make something out of them. I do trust them in that, and people seem to like Cleveland.
Ooh,
Stone
plus
Forsythe.
Villanueva versus TJ Watt. I just thought of that. Could be interesting.
Stone Forsythe has fallen
maybe got
so
some
much further than I
info.
thought he would. He's definitely fallen quite a bit. I think I had him as the number 1 tackle for the Ravens after Jenkins.
That's Ben Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he's fallen too. Could have a hidden injury or something like everyone else.
Yeah.
That's
Last
wild.
minute red flag to send them tumbling down the boards.
They should, if he falls, they should take Elijah Molden.
Yeah, Molden. Molden's definitely the biggest faller so far. Let me look at my list here. Yeah, and Jabril Cox, but Molden is by far he's 50 spots lower than where I thought he would go. And I thought Forsythe would be somewhere in the mid to late 3rd, so I don't think he's fallen. But Molden, there must be something there. It's got to be.
I would think so, yeah. I mean, well,
This
the size and like the tweenership is like it's kind of hard to project with like how NFL teams are going to feel about that sometimes. But
I don't like Johnson because I think he's one of the worst open field tacklers in this draft class, and apparently there's a lot of character issues. Whatever, I don't care about that as much. But dude gets trucked, dude whiffs, just not a good tackler. And I think that the Ravens value safeties as being guys that can end plays when shit starts to break down. So. Jamar Johnson, I wouldn't love. I like the range there. Molden, I would love. Then Dan Moore, sneaky option. Davion Nixon, still on the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you got Quinn Miners
He's-
on the Broncos right now.
I
Did
had
Spenny
Nixon
not
as
call
the
that like 10 minutes ago? I swear you said that like 10 minutes ago, Spenny.
yeah. That I saw a little bit early, but then
Gillespie. Don't sleep on him. I like him.
either
as a
of the
safety.
Missouri safeties, both of them were really smart, interchangeable. Both of the Cincy safeties really smart, interchangeable. But kind of similar systems there. Actually, not systems, but similar situations where both of those safeties kind of shared responsibilities, which reminds you of Baltimore. Nixon would be BPA, man. I think he's the second best interior pass rusher in this class. That Iowa pedigree, that Kirk connection to Iowa, and getting a little bit younger on that defensive line wouldn't be bad. Nixon's got good size. I think him and Matabuike, kind of a similar skill set. I think Matabuike is better against the run, but
Matabike.
it's a Wazi, it's a Woozy. But both of those guys are going to be able to rush the passer, and lo and behold, you're sitting without anybody but Justin Matabike as a defensive lineman next year, right? He's the only one under contract next year. Broderick Washington.
Wolf too, right?
Wolf, right.
I just got the Ravens. They emailed me Ben Cleveland's draft profile that they got for him. 2020. I'm going to read this off just real quick for everybody. In 2020, second team All-America by The Athletic, third team by the Associated Press, all SEC first team by AP, and the league's 14 head coaches. Started at right guard in all 9 regular season games, selected SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, the third time of his career winning the award. After Georgia's win at South Carolina when the Bulldogs racked up a season-best 332 rushing yards. Also won the honor after Georgia's win over Auburn. Played 82% of Georgia's offensive snaps during the regular season, 100% versus Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi State. Selected one of 3 team captains for the Missouri game. So this guy sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty legit. 6'6", 357 is his draft profile. Some other people are citing it more around 6'5", 357. So he's an absolute beast mauler of a guard. And I bet Joe D'Alessandris, I wrote this in the roundtable, like the Ravens are excellent in developing offensive line talent. And I bet Joe D is loving this pick just for the fact that they're able to develop somebody that's like enormous and Herculean in size and turn him into something great. His NFL draft profile, like comparison, was DJ Fluker, and I thought that was pretty apropos, seeing as DJ Fluker was just with the Ravens, and if he's younger than him and has like DJ Fluker as his like floor, he could be even better, hopefully.
Here's a guy.
Cleveland, I think, is very. I don't think his good hand speed or good foot speed, but he doesn't get out of control. He doesn't lean. His strikes aren't like with Fluker, he's always leaning in and then striking. Like he's kind of coming at you. Like it's very easy to see. I think Cleveland's a little more sudden and precise, but he doesn't have great speed with it. Grip strength. The dude can probably crush a coconut in his hands. Once he gets that fistful of jersey, you're done. You're done, son. I think this shows how much the Ravens just don't like their guard situation, and they go get Zeitler and they go get Cleveland. And again, I just think Powers has a weird build. Disappointed. I thought Powers was going to be a lot more successful last year. You got Patrick McCarry, who's undersized, and the guys you like is a swingman center kind of type. They can be a jack of all trades. Bredesen's length is the worst over the last 2 years, pretty much. I think, right, Vaz, just about.
Yeah, he's in the 1 percentile.
Right. And who else they got?
You need
Phillips.
You need a bully.
Sorry.
You need a bully. And I think he's a bully. We were talking about that last night a little bit. When the going gets tough and you're playing Tennessee, you need a bully. And you get a 260-pound guard who's all muscle, and that's a guy that can move around some Tennessee defensive tackles.
Here's a guy.
And I think if he's your 5th starter, Ben Powers is your 5th starter. That's the making top-notch offensive line, right? Because
You could do worse. Yeah.
your 5th starter is never going to be perfect, right? You're nitpicking, but I think that'd be a good combination.
It does
He's
depend on that
playing.
tackle situation, like whether it's Villanueva or Kelly. Like you really would like to see that certainty, that guy coming down the pipeline. So hopefully the Villanueva reports, I know they were a little wishy-washy. Hopefully they're able to get him in there.
So this is another elite tester. Another 9. He had a 9.63 RAS. OA with the 9.92-ish. If you put him at linebacker, he's a 10. And Bateman above an 8. So this is a really strong athletic profile.
I have actually a question for Voss, Jake, Spenny on this. The Ravens, Eric DaCosta mentioned a lot during his presser, especially with Owe, but also with Bateman, about the Ravens focusing more on the analytics of these guys, of Bateman and Owe. Is that something that you guys have noticed throughout this draft, through these 3 picks thus far, and maybe going into the end of day 2 and day 3?
It seems that way with, especially with Bateman and Owe. Like you look at the way that some of these guys, these analytics guys in the media at the very least, talk about Bateman. Just seems like kind of that perfect guy for what Baltimore wants to do, and he runs the all the precise, perfect routes that you're asking for, and then obviously Owe with the athletic testing. It does seem like that's gotten into their mindset a little bit. And like Owe, we talked about it last night, right, guys? Is that wouldn't have been an Ozzy pick, and DeCosta's kind of forging his own way. I think Spenny, you and I were talking about that a little bit at least.
Yeah, Ozzy 2.0. That's what we were saying.
Modified Ozzy, yeah.
I think the analytics plays a part. I'm not exactly sure what the analytical measurements are for an offensive guard necessarily, but I'm sure there's something. There goes Molden, by the way.
Fuck.
I think it's a very smart way to do
Who
things.
took him?
Titans. That's a good pick for the
Yeah,
Titans.
Titans
They
took
needed
Monty
a-
Rice, who is one of my favorite
yeah,
linebackers
they
in this
needed a
class.
nickel.
And then they took Elijah Molden after what? Des King left, right?
He is going to be such a fucking pest to play against. He's
Where
going to
did
be
King go?
He's going to
Where
be
did
Malcolm
King go?
Butler, but actually good.
I don't remember
remember
where
where
King.
King-
I know
Also,
Butler-
Spenny, your hair is on absolute fire right now.
This
You're
would
looking
be-
like Steve Rogers.
I think he went
Love
to the Texans and King went to Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. Frank. Good call. I think I
He
remember
was one of the 50,000 players they signed.
And Butler
Right.
went to Arizona.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because they were making the puns about how he made that play in Phoenix's or Arizona Stadium.
So remember for next year, Molden and Ardarius Washington, the undersized defensive backs slide more than the pundits think. Let's make a note of that so we know.
Well, I think Ardarius Washington for also other reasons, but yeah.
What is I didn't know that. What's the other issue?
No, nothing like no issue, but just the fact that he plays like a different position. Like I think Molden is more of a modern player than Washington. You know what I mean?
I think Washington's kind of similar, but anyway.
I think he's a little boxier. Like I think Molden can play up more. And
NFL running backs will run through Washington like in space. Molden will get there quicker, and I think holds up. A little
yeah, I
better.
just
He's
see
got more
Washington
functional
as
strength.
kind of a box safety type thing, and like he'll be good, fine. But like,
I think he plays on the back end quite a bit. I feel like he had some speed, some range, some anticipation back there. Him and Merrick kind of just rotated in that match quarter stuff and moved around a bit. I don't think you're putting a 5'8", 170-pound safety in the box.
You shouldn't, at least.
Wait, Spenny,
And-
you said Davion Nixon's your second defensive tackle. What about on Wazirike?
I was saying in terms of just interior pass rush, like Nixon is my second guy that is going to be able to create pressure. A lot of people were skeptical on him as a run defender, but he's kind of a playmaking type where he's good in space and against some inside zone kind of stuff, some duo, some stuff like that. He wasn't always processing quickly enough and wasn't consistent enough, but I think he's taken a real slide that makes me think there's something else involved, maybe some medicals, yada, yada, yada. I think the pass rush ability is there, the movement, the ability to kind of bend his body in the hole and get some good stuff done in terms of pass rushing. And like I've said,
sorry, go ahead. This is not important.
no, go ahead.
The fully vaccinated draft room label, like it has the fully vaccinated above it, like that's good stuff. Didn't
the Rams
my
guy
second on
already
Tuesday.
get COVID?
Do what?
I swear a Rams guy got COVID in one of those like draft rooms.
They might have, because I think McVay is by himself in his apartment right now.
Yeah, so I guess they weren't fully
It
vaccinated.
wasn't like Les Snead or somebody, or am I?
Well, if Les Snead got COVID, then he'd be fine. He would just throw a pair of shades on and put his convertible down and just drive down to fucking Malibu and just sit on the beach for a day and just be cured, because everything's just fine in the world of Les Snead. Must be nice to be him.
Jesus.
McVay's got
Have you seen that guy?
Roger Goodell. McVay's got the Roger Goodell painting behind him, though. Did you guys see
he
that?
does. He's certainly really zany there by Sean.
That was
I knew
creepy.
you were going with the the Mohawk picture, KB. I found another one. I looked at that one and I was like, that was definitely going to be taken. I can't take that.
You
one.
have to.
For the instant reactions. That's a good shot. I like how a lot of our offensive and defensive linemen had interesting hairstyles. Wolf, you got Wolf. You have with the dreads. You have Cleveland with the Mohawk. It's a good look.
Oh, yeah, and it was Les Snead who had COVID, by the way. I didn't realize I was muted when I was saying it.
Lamar can do anything with his hair. He's got it braided as loops. He's got it, cut on down. He's got it just sticking out. I love Lamar's hair. He's sharp. He looks sharp. And then you got Spenny over there. Look at him. Look at this man, just flowing.
He's in a little bit of a mood tonight. He's brooding. I can tell just looking at him.
He's got
my
sharp,
body is just
chiseled
deteriorating.
beard. Shout out to a commenter earlier who was like, "Does pulling your beard allow you to talk?"
Yeah, we chased after it a little bit last night.
That Nicki Minaj comment yesterday was quite something.
That was wild.
Also, real quick, anybody and everybody watching this, if you could like the stream and subscribe to the Baltimore Beatdown YouTube channel, it's a huge help. We're almost at 500 subscribers. By we, I mean Jake and Spenny. These guys have worked their tail off creating an excellent social media platform for you guys. And I'm incredibly proud of them and what Jake has done in this time. Yes, exactly. Give the claps for these boys.
Absolutely.
Really proud of them. Jake has spent a lot of time in here. Spenny has busted his ass as an NFL draft guy. You know, every time I hop on this show, I give you guys so much respect and credit because I have that title of managing editor, but you guys fucking run this entire show here. Like the Baltimore Beatdown podcast, my work has entailed me trying to get you guys interviews, getting Ed Reed, getting Anthony Averett, but like you guys run this show weekly and I'm just incredibly proud of you and the time and money and effort you've spent into this. So definitely support these guys and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on Spotify if you don't got Apple Podcasts, subscribe on their YouTube channel and just support Jake and Spenny because they bust their ass doing this stuff, So
it's a lot of work.
So do it. Exactly. Thank you guys very much for watching and tuning in.
Well, we appreciate that very much, brother. I like to hear that. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun work. It's something that I do on the side here of my full-time career, and maybe hopefully it will be the full-time career at some point. But just gonna keep working at it and having fun with it. And I couldn't do it without your help and the help of all the beautiful people on the screen right now. So appreciate all you guys.
Except Jonas.
The comments can agree. The instrumental for the new for the new intro, sick. Love.
Yeah, another one
jam
that I found. Like a lot of other pods, like they use like a real song for like their background one, which I feel like you gotta have some balls to do that. I found it on like another stock website that I think Vox actually provided this, but I actually was pretty pleased. So happy with the way that came out.
I feel like this is going to be a pick on the defensive side of the ball coming up.
I think so too.
Jeff Z just tweeted that. I don't know who it is, but he said Ravens.
I love Davion Nixon.
Well, of course he did. Of course Jeff did.
Jeff won't tip the picks, which I'm really salty about.
I got the pick.
Yeah, I see it. I see it on Twitter.
Because last night he's like, Ravens fans are really going to like this pick, but he wouldn't say that it was Bateman.
Can't spit it out.
You can't. Like the Rams haven't even picked on the telecast.
Say it.
If you want to say it, you can say it.
Say it in the private chat.
Say it in the private chat. It's someone who I haven't watched one snap of, and I don't even know what college he went to.
Sick.
Really?
That's if you told me this guy's name, I'd be like, oh, that's a Madden generated name.
Oh, who?
No.
What?
Is he a slot
safety
guy?
No, he's a safety. He's a safety.
Okay.
That's
That's
the
corner.
That's
It's
a Daniel
SS
Jeremiah
CB.
guy.
Jonas
Hi,
said-
Josh. You're up. You got to write this one.
That's a Daniel
said,
Jeremiah guy.
SMU cornerback
Southern-
Brandon Stevens.
I
Yeah,
wrote the first
SMU.
one, Josh. You got to write this one.
This might be the one guy Josh didn't profile.
Another
Of the
Profile.
286 guys Josh has watched tape on, this is 289.
It's another tester above 9. It's a 9-2 tester. So that's 3 in a row now. With that,
So that's the
he's
analytics.
he's
Yeah.
6'1". It's
Tons
not.
of
It's
fun.
just measurables. Like it's betting on athleticism. He's 6'1", 220, 32-inch arms, 9 and 7/8 inch hands, 4.44, 38-inch vert, 10.7 on the broad. He had a sub 7.3 cone, so fine there. The shuttle wasn't great. The 10-yard split, which I think was actually estimated this year, but was really
they didn't.
okay. It says 1.62, but he runs a 4.44. That's not right. But 9.2 tester there as a safety. I'm sure he tests even better. So who said safety? Who's saying he's a safety?
I'm saying he's a safety. I've seen him profiled as a safety. I have not watched very much from him either. I know he was Daniel Jeremiah was higher on him than most of the other the pundits, the experts, the gurus. So yeah, I think or potentially he can kind of do that two birds with one stone. He can maybe play slot corner and also play dime safety. That's really then you save a roster spot for something else potentially. So yeah,
Special
seems
teams, I'm sure he's probably an elite special
team
teams player as
captain.
well.
He's probably been a team captain since his freshman season. You know,
Lost, do you
walked
want
onto
to
the
box right now?
no,
They
I'm not
announced it
taking.
as a safety or corner. They haven't.
Comments is so quick and
He just
snap.
he just came straight from high school, and they were like, "This guy is amazing. You're a team captain, freshman year. You know why not?" So let's go. Let's see what's up.
Took snaps against James Prochet, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Listen, they probably got the endorsement from him, just like Joe Flacco handpicked Camden Boss. What a tremendous bloodline that you got going there. Brandon Stevens. That sounds like a guy that should be in this chat right now.
yeah.
It's
I
also
don't
true.
know. Let's pull up some intel because honestly, he was a little bit deeper down on my board that
I'll see what I can.
I don't know too much.
Tony
Nice.
Pauline, I'm not very big on his scouting reports. It's
Dude,
like
call him out.
kind of like Charlie Casterly. Like he'll say
Yeah, I agree
something.
with
It's
that.
like I don't know what you're talking about, but
So
yeah,
when you
he's
Google a guy, sorry to cut you off, but when you Google a guy, usually the first things that you get are the like the highlights, like this dude is so fire, like that thing. The first thing, like there's none of that when I Google him. It's just like a Facebook link and like all this weird shit. So continue.
No.
Tough scene.
Uh,
Tough scene.
Matt
Mega
Miller
tough
had
scene.
him 136th overall. The Draft Network had him 219th. Connor Rogers and PFF both didn't rank him or do a profile on him.
Okay, but like last
So-
time the Ravens drafted some corner that the fan base was upset about, it was Marlon Humphrey, and that turned out pretty well.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a little different though. man.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I'm sure those.
So this
Everyone
is
with
more
the Bama
excuse me,
is
this is
taking
more
the person.
Iman Marshall than it is Marlon Humphrey.
No, Iman Marshall's
I
a
like him on
five-star.
Marshall.
He was a 5-star too. He's a deep guy, but let's see. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. They're pretty good at picking secondary, defensive backs.
We knew they were going to go defensive back eventually. So
He was a
He
two-year
used to
starter.
play running back at UCLA.
Yeah. He was a
Yeah.
2-year starter at SMU. Matt Miller has words on him. He's a very good athlete. I believe he's a lot like L'Jarius Sneed last year. And the fact that he was playing out of position, but his athleticism will be more at home in the NFL and at safety.
All right, I'm pulling up Dane Brugler's report here from the Beast. Who's got a lot of good intel.
I think this is his place at running back.
So he's Brugler's 24th
disgusting.
corner.
It's his max
That-
prep running back tape.
That was disgusting.
oh,
I just pulled it up for like
So yes, he
obviously
wasn't.
thinking it would be corner, but
So shockingly, he was a team
which is
captain.
sick.
Shockingly, he
Of
was a
course.
team captain of SMU last year. So he's 213. So he's a big size corner. Brugler's saying he has the build of a former running back. He's got speed to stay with the vertical routes. 2-year starter. Doesn't say that he could potentially transition to safety, but I have seen safety. I don't recall where, but that was kind of the projection.
That's
He
what
led
Daniel
the
Jeremiah
conference.
just said on the broadcast.
He
So
led
that must have been from Jeremiah then.
The comments Cody McGowan. Schaefer said he's a converted running back. Even our DBs are running backs, boss.
Yeah, pretty much. How do you feel about that, boss?
I feel great about it. If they could play DB, then don't play running back. Brugler says
That's positional value. Right there.
It is. It is.
Primo
I mean,
position.
everybody plays running back in Pee Wee ball, right? All the best players, and then eventually they
Yeah.
move to other
Yep.
positions.
Yeah, that's true. He led the conference in pass breakups last year. What is
Yeah,
that?
with 10 and
ASC.
interception.
And everyone's
Yeah.
favorite James Prochet, give him a tweet right now. Let's go. # pony up Baltimore. So
It
there
sounds
you
like
go.
he's a little handsy from Brugler's. He said he has cover.
That's
and-
Baltimore Ravens coverage
like that.
football.
Yeah,
baby.
a cover
like-
and clobber attitude, and is still learning the meaning of subtle contact downfield. So yeah, Brugler rated him as a 5th rounder for the record. So
Tough scene. I don't like it, but what are you gonna do?
at least it's not. I really don't like when they reach for players that are also not a need or not, at a valued position. So at least it's potentially at a position they need.
Yeah,
help
it's
with.
corner, and I would trust him with secondary players. So for sure.
So
Yeah, I
that's
hear you.
Not like he's not coming in to be like the number one corner too.
So
You know,
here's the,
like-
here's
Yeah,
the thing with that. It's like Broderick Washington is like a no name at Texas Tech on the defensive line, and it's like, all right, defensive line, do we really need that? And
No, you don't.
much better spot to do that.
I don't have any opinion. I don't have anything to say if it's a good pick or a bad pick. We got to watch the tape.
I have no idea. I'm watching it right now. I couldn't point him
I
out.
am outraged. I
So
just want to
that's-
have a
that's,
take. You guys
um,
aren't having a take. I need to have a
That's
take.
back-to-back years.
I'm
of taking an
imagining-
SMU player. They
I
didn't
have to
take an
think that
SMU
Prochet
player
has something
ever.
to do with it. You have to think Prochet has something to do with that
Yeah.
in terms of them.
Yeah, he's going to take
Prochet
Prochet's.
just walks in. He's wearing like a really cool like vintage Ravens hat, and they're like, "Oh shit, this guy's like he looks really cool. Like we got to listen to his opinion." So they listen to him. Brandon Stevens, your fourth pick for the Ravens in this 2021 NFL draft. Very interesting.
Until he takes Prochet's roster spot. That Prochet's going to be pissed off for giving him that.
Don't you say
intel.
that to the Twitter hardos.
I'll be right back.
So
Ooh,
he's
nice
a guy
pass breakup
that's
of this highlight tape I watched.
he's a guy that's probably going to be able to develop. He's probably going to play a lot of special teams, I imagine. He has the
Yes.
athleticism, and he's most likely going to be able to sit behind safeties, corners, wherever, and see what they can do. So I would imagine, they get some legwork in with James Prochet. They get into the SMU connection there. They traded up for James Prochet. So they made those comments last year about how Prochet was or they made the comments that like we can find starting receivers in the 5th and 6th round or whatever last year, if you guys remember, ahead of the draft. So they probably did their legwork on Prochet and saw Stevens and like what they saw. So I imagine the press conference for him will sound similar to that if I had to guess.
Completely unrelated. You remember the other night I mentioned all the bends that they have on the interior offensive line. They added
3 of them.
They got
Good
another
point.
bend. What are we doing?
The trifecta.
Are they just trying to get it's just
Ben cubed. As
Listen,
long
the
as they have the
Ravens-
same first name, you're going to put them on the roster for no other. You can put them on the field for no additional cost.
The Ravens' offensive line names sound like guys that work in like a coal mine. It's like Ronnie, Bradley, Kevin.
As
Pat.
a person who has
Ben,
literally
Ben,
lived and worked in a coal mine, I can agree with that statement.
Yeah, it's like
North Antelope Rochelle mine, buddy. Let's go.
Raylan Givens is like investigating them for like some kind of domestic situation. Yeah, it's interesting. Ben, yeah,
That's worthy of a Photoshop somewhere.
they should. Yeah, Brandon.
This feels a little bit like a. Do you guys remember the 2013 draft, or is that too far back?
Oh, I remember, brother.
There was a 7th round pick named Mark Anthony, who was a cornerback, I believe, out of
It was one of the Cali schools, right?
Cal Bears, right? Yeah, Cal Bears.
Yeah.
And like everybody was like, this kid's really sick, but like he had a very generic name, and like
Well, it was
nobody had
generic, like,
nobody
it
had
was-
watched tape on him,
It was kind of
and
sick.
like he ended up being a cut in the 7th, and like that's fine because a 7th rounder, like the Ravens aren't known to cut rookies, but like if you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it, and they understood that. And so he didn't make the roster that year, but like this feels like that just because like that's the only thing that I can latch on to as like something that I remember or that I can give like a metaphor to. So that's the problem I see here. Like it sounds like it's a generic named corner that nobody's seen any tape on. That's the guy that they took. So it's like, what's going on here? That's all I got.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Here comes Voss, ready.
Did they think that this guy wasn't going to be available at their next pick? I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of these other guys are probably being hunted down right now by the other teams. I don't know how many teams were looking at Brandon Stevens.
That's a
They
fair,
might be
that's a fair point.
looking to make that move to safety, which like other teams might have thought of doing in like the 4th round, maybe. But who knows? I don't know. Certainly,
I think they
Chiefs
probably had a
did
grade on him. They probably had a grade on him, and
Yeah,
valued
the
him
Chiefs
in a
did the
third
same
spot.
thing with L'Jarius Sneed.
He's
last
probably
year.
a Red Star guy.
or the other way around.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you guys remember that last year where they talked about Red Star guys and how like that's the one guy that scouts have to like bang the table for?
So are you a bang the table or a get up on the table guy?
I'm a bang disabled guy.
Somebody said earlier, I was talking to somebody on
I
Twitter.
bet that's what he is.
And instead of saying come off the board, they said went across the border. As far as like offensive, all the offensive linemen, instead of saying they were coming off the board, they said all the offensive linemen are going across the border. I really wanted to write build that wall, but
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Build a wall. Stop them from doing this. Stop them from doing this, and make Pittsburgh pay for it.
yes. That's a valid point, though, Jonas. I think they stick to the board, and apparently they don't like a lot of these other guys. I mean, this year's weird with all the medicals, and all of a sudden, 2 days before the draft, then the medical information is released.
Yep.
We don't know what's what. I'm frankly going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this pick. I don't love it. There was a couple other guys I liked, but if he ends up turning into a contributor as a safety, potentially a dime safety, I think it'll be a good pick.
I will too. I've liked all the picks they've made so far. So like we were saying last night, one for me, one for you. It's kind of the same idea where the first 3 picks I really like. This one, you got a guy that you believe in. Fine, that's cool with me. And he's at cornerback, which you need that. So
I'm here for the most cliche of phrases in, I believe, all of Ravens fan base history, and it's in general manager I trust. Whether it's in Ozzy we trust or in Eric we trust. Like that's where I'm at with this. This is if Eric DaCosta is willing to take this guy at 104, I'm in because I'm happy with that decision. And I bet, like I said, I bet this is a Red Star guy. I bet one of the scouts in the room was like, "This is the dude."
Jermaine the Giraffe. Jermaine
Let's
the Giraffe.
do
You got to
this.
stick your neck out.
Nope.
man, the crap.
This is it.
Well,
So that's what I'm assuming this pick is. It
Jermaine
really
McGrath.
feels like that because the Ravens tend to do that because they talk a lot about Red Star guys, and at least they did last year. And this feels eerily similar in that regard.
Was Tyree Phillips? Was he a Red Star guy?
They're
I bet
all
he
Red Star
was.
guys. I don't think they pick. I mean, lately they haven't really been picking people that aren't Red Star guys. It seems like
Yeah.
pretty much everyone's a Red Star guy. But that's okay. We'll see.
Voss,
We'll see.
you're my Red Star guy.
I appreciate that, Kyle. You're my red stripe guy, and I need another beer.
I was gonna say, are you getting another brewski there? What's going on?
Just a
Voss,
minute.
I'll slam a brewski with you real quick, or a shot, whatever one you want to pick.
I'm trying to get this instant reaction done, and frankly, I don't have much to say.
You got to copy.
I tried. I was like, I have nothing to say about this.
I've been staring at the round table, and I'm like, all right, I got nothing here. This one's going to be a little bit cooler.
The key is
I
not to
understand.
pretend like you know what the hell you're talking about when you don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
So,
You got to be honest.
yeah.
Just got to wing it.
Jonas, how many hours of film have you watched of this man? Whose name
Brandon
I've already
Stevens.
forgotten. And that's why I call him
Brandon
Brandon.
Brandon Stevens is my number 4 cornerback in this draft class. I've watched him every game.
Damn, I guess you got the value all on there. Good for you.
All right, let's look big picture for a minute.
Big picture.
Big. Cleveland.
Big picture, you say?
Incredible. Ridiculous.
Big country.
I have not been around here enough for this.
Ravens have
soundboard.
2 big countries. 2 big countries. 3
That's
They
big
too
talked
many.
about
They've
that.
got 2 big countries and they got
They
3
interviewed.
fucking men. Like, what are you doing?
Somebody asked them about that in the
Insulting to small countries. Small countries are jilted. right
Greece,
now.
not a huge nation. Have some respect.
presser. Greece,
Maybe
not-
not huge,
not huge.
but we
Not
invented
huge.
the alphabet, philosophy, democracy, a couple important things.
Sex.
Yes.
Drugs.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
may
thanks,
have in- we
thanks
may
for all
have
that
invented-
philosophy. That's increasingly, boosting my anxiety levels. Shout out Plato and Socrates for questioning life and making me study that back in my freshman year.
Well, you want
Greeks-
to question it. You want to have a deeper experience, but
Yeah,
also
that's
Fortunately,
Wow.
I didn't want it to be that deep.
no, you do want it to be. You want to unlock the secrets of this world, no matter what the cost. Voss also a
He's going
confirmed
third
sex
eye right
addict
here.
with his 2 children. Or do
What's-
you have 2
say
kids?
that again? Catch
What?
Yeah, I have 2, daughter and a son.
There you go. So
They're
if you ask me
adorable,
sex
by
for
the
that,
way.
And yeah,
Thank you.
Voss-
Greeks may have invented homosexuality. but we also invented heterosexuality. So
Listen,
we'll
not-
live with it.
Not that there's
Hey.
anything wrong with that. Whatever anyone wants to do in the comfort of their
We're
own
Yeah,
we're out here with the
absolutely.
Alphabet Mafia.
So anyway, back to the big picture point that I was trying to make.
The tangents are running wild.
quickly.
You can't pivot.
The Browns had a good draft. The Chiefs retooled their offensive line in a hurry, and they have a better
Hold on.
offensive line than the Ravens now.
Oh, okay.
And I think those are the three teams. Those are the three teams in the AFC: the Browns, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. So what are the Ravens going to
Bills?
do?
Najee
I'm not-
Harris though with the Steelers.
I love that pick from a Ravens perspective.
Would you
That
guys
was-
like to hear the Brandon Stevens Ravens draft profile?
Go for it, KB.
Senior 2020. Played and started all 10 games, registered 43 tackles, 36 of them solo, including 1 for loss. Had 10 PBUs and 1 interception. Added 1 fumble recovery and 1 quarterback hit. Awards, NFLPA Collegiate Bowl invite, preseason Phil Steele 4th team all AAC. That, like, okay, every time they send us like these draft profiles, it's pretty exciting. All right, because like you get like this like 1 to 2 page PDF profile of these guys, like every time. Like Marlon Humphreys was probably like 3 pages long, even Averett's, just because they played on Bama. But like Brandon Stevens is a CB from Southern Methodist, and like this thing can't even fill a full page, and this feels really okay. 2018, it literally just says saw action in 2 games, like that's it. And this
He was switching
just
positions.
feels interesting. This feels interesting. That's all I'm saying is like this feels different and unique. 2018, he was still at UCLA as a running back, I assume. It's just very unique and new compared to what we experienced. Josh, I got you here after I finish my sentences here. But yeah, like this one is just peculiar and something I wrote. I've referenced the 2013 draft way too much tonight, but like it's one of the ones that I broke down the most in my entire like writing career. And I wrote about Brandon Williams, who was a home run of a pick. That like if
Yeah,
you're
he
coming
was.
from
Big time.
if you come from a smaller school, and SMU's not like a small tiny school like it was when Brandon Williams was at an even smaller one, but like you have to play really well to catch the eye of Ozzie for Brandon Williams. You probably have to catch the eye of Eric DeCosta just as much, and hopefully they saw something that other people missed over. Hopefully they saw something that like you can't have bad snaps and still land with the Ravens at 104, with this pick. And also this pick did come courtesy of the Texans hiring their head coach, Joe Culley. So that's pretty exciting that they got this pick here, and they're going to have another 3rd round later on. But I'm going to get to editing.
Voss,
Feels
you
a lot.
mentioned the
Go ahead, Jonas.
yeah, no, you mentioned like the 2 other teams. Browns had like everyone's talking about how Awa and Bateman are like 2 great 1st round picks. Like Newsome and Owusu Karamoa, you can basically say he's a 1st round pick. Like those are 2 studs that they got in their first 2 picks as well. So it's like, everyone's saying we got a whole lot better. They got a whole lot better too. Like the Browns are constantly improving.
And people, I think some of the Ravens flock. I love them to death. Everybody that we interact with on our website, on our blog, on Twitter, on social media, sometimes they don't give the other teams credit for their young players developing or their draft picks being solid too. The one thing, there's no replacement for talent. There's no replacement for talent. The dirty little secret about the 2012 Super Bowl champion, and I won't talk about the 2000 because I didn't follow the teams enough, but they did stack up man for man among the very, very best in the league. And you could compare the 2012 Ravens to the 2022 Ravens or 2021 Ravens and maybe say that 21 is better than 12. You can make that case potentially, but it doesn't matter if Kansas City has a super team and Cleveland has a super team. So Jimmys and Joes, X's and O's, you need them both. So I hope the Ravens continue to be active, whether that's pursuing Julio Jones. Maybe that's Villanueva. I think they're not quite right up on that top tier with KC and Cleveland as the roster sits, as you go fit, man for man down.
Well, I'm not as worried. I like Cleveland. I think they're good. I'm not as worried about them as Kansas City. Why?
Oh yeah.
You know why.
Lamar has their number. Well, I said that earlier.
The other reason why.
What's the other reason why? I forgot.
The quarterback position.
Baker.
Sure.
It's
That's
Mahomes. Mahomes is the biggest force multiplier that we have seen in sports, maybe of all time. I don't think
Lamar's up there too, man.
He is a little bit, but Mahomes is different, man. Like he's fucking like all this stuff about like, and I love you, buddy. I love like all the points you make. You're obviously like you put a lot of work into it, but it's like so much of this is just fucking. It's just so like it's all just Mahomes to me. Like weird, and like I don't want to be so nihilistic about it and just like think like, oh man, none of it matters. And like, of course it obviously does, but it's so like, it deflates me thinking about how fucking good that guy is. And like Baker Mayfield, not so much. The Browns have like probably maybe even a better roster than the Chiefs, right? Don't you think?
Top to bottom? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Depth wise for sure.
You can say that.
Yeah. To me, it's just Mahomes is just that guy. He's that X factor.
So the thing is, you have a force multiplier. What forces is he multiplying? If Lamar is an amazing force multiplier that makes offensive linemen better and can take any old running back off the street and he's got 6 yards of carry, then why are you investing in running backs? Hypothetically, it's just food for thought. You want to, if they're a force multiplier, then what maximize what that does for you?
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think you should invest in receivers and offensive line, and that's what it is. And I think he's a force multiplier in a different way, but I don't know. Like he needed some receiving help. I think he needed some offensive line help. I think they've done a solid job of that this offseason, but he's just not quite on Mahomes' level. Like I think Mahomes is like, I think he's going to be the best quarterback of all time, and like Lamar is going to be one of the best quarterbacks of this generation. But it's just like it's obviously a little bit of a different conversation.
Voss,
I think
that's
totally fair. Go ahead.
Also, just to answer your question a little bit, like I think with a guy like Lamar or Mahomes, they can make like a bad offensive line or a bad receiving group competent, and then if you add elite like talent to those, that's when you put a strength on your offense or your defense. Like that's when you put a strength for your team. So, like they're the ones that elevate everyone else, but it's much easier to make that part of your team a strength if you have a guy like that. So that's why you still invest in the offensive line.
That's a fair point. To me, it's all about complementary football, right? Because it's very hard to be above average, top 5, top 10 in all 5 phases. So KC says we're going to put a bunch of points on the board, and we're not really worried about run defense. Although they took Bolton tonight, which flies in the face of what I said. And I think the Ravens had that in 2019 too, where they didn't have a great run defense, but it didn't necessarily matter. The 2 worst run defenses that the Ravens have ever fielded were 2012 and 2019, which were 2 of their best seasons they've ever had. So it's just a strategy, philosophy, and I agree to Jake's point. You don't want to be so, dedicated and devoted to these ideas that you're not flexible. And I think that the Ravens exhibited that in a good way yesterday by taking Oweh, who did not fit their benchmarks of sack production and all of those different things that Spencer profiled in some of his preview articles. And I think that's a great thing because you can't be married to it, but I do think you still need to have kind of a baseline philosophy that makes sense in the modern game.
So here's to switch gears back towards the draft. Now that we've been through, day 1, day 2, the Ravens have made 4 picks. In hindsight, are we content with not having a pick that whole second round with the strategy of picking twice in the first, having that substantial gap to the third round, then picking twice again? Given the haul that they came out with, is it too early to make judgments on that strategy, or what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, the
Go ahead.
strategy was to give away Orlando, who had 1 year left, to get pick 31. So it's like you move up there and you trade away a guy. I don't really know.
I mean, I don't love it. But the fact that they picked two instant impact potential Pro Bowlers, All Pros yesterday softens the blow. I did a mock draft leading up a couple earlier this week, and I had them trading back out of both picks because I think there's a case that can be made that the best value of the entire draft is the second round every year, and maybe you want to trade down and trade up and get 4 second-round picks, and that's the way to go. But they still have some picks tomorrow. Obviously, they have 5 picks tomorrow. So we'll see what they do. I'm not over the moon, but getting good picks and getting 2 really solid, exciting players in the first round should be helpful.
I'll just say this. I think I'm so glad that we're past day 2 and we already have a wide receiver taken. Like, I know Bateman was our number 1 pick and that's what everyone wanted, but I feel like we're almost in a similar boat to where we were last year and where the offense is. And the fact that Duvernay was like our first guy taken, it's a good feeling there.
I have some incredible news. I did not realize that Robert Hainsey, guard/tackle Notre Dame, was taken the 95th pick because I have a tweet in existence from about February that states if Robert Hainsey is available with the 209th pick in the NFL draft, that I will get naked, shave my eyebrows, and stream me singing Britney Spears Toxic on Twitter. So as expected, Robert Hainsey goes in the top 100 instead of outside of the top 200. I liked Robert Hainsey a lot, so I'm happy about that. It's tough. You're talking about the second round, and it's just really hard to look at the other dimension, the parallel universe where the Ravens have the 58th pick and who they would have taken there. Would they have taken Cleveland at 58? It sounds like it. Apparently Harbaugh was trying to get DeCosta to trade up, is what's being said. And DeCosta was made. And of course, they're gonna go hyperbole and exaggerate a little bit, but they're saying, if we could have turned in the card at the top of day 2 with Ben Cleveland's name on it, immediately we would have been happy. So they're saying if they would have picked early on in day 2, they could have taken Ben Cleveland. They would have been pretty happy. And I think that's an example of something that's interesting, which is the Ravens having a really big board this year. I didn't think this was a crazy deep class. I don't love the value in the back end of this draft, but the Ravens had, not reportedly, Eric DeCosta said it many times, around 200 players. Whereas, Barry and Cleveland and some other guys are saying 110, 120, 130. Then you have a team like Baltimore that does zig and zag and whatever you want to call it against the grain. So you can go get a Ben Cleveland who the Vikings aren't going to want him. A lot of teams aren't going to want Ben Cleveland probably because he's not going to be able to be someone who's working in space and doing a lot of things that other teams ask, but he's going to be able to crush inside zone. He's going to be able to pull a little bit for you, or he's going to be able to drive and collapse inside to move guys off the line of scrimmage. So I think that helped him a little bit. So who do they take in the second round? That's the question that you have to ask, and we can't have an answer for it. So that's a difficult part of it. But Ravens have picked atrociously in the second round over the last, decade. Tyus Bowser and J.K. Dobbins are probably the 2 best second-round picks they've had, and J.K. Dobbins is 1 year in. So weird spot there. Vaz, you're talking about Owe. The more I watch Owe, I really kind of just counted him out as being a Raven this entire time. I didn't think he would be a guy they would like that much because of the lack of production versus the athletic measurements, and now we've seen a full athlete draft, very much so. So I think you see, a guy that has a lot of potential as a run defender. I mean, everyone's saying he's this really raw player, but the more games I watched 2 today, and I'll watch every game I have. I think I have like 12. The more I watch him, the more I realize he's a really consistent run defender. And that makes, everyone's like, he's a really high ceiling, low floor guy. I find the exact opposite in terms of that floor. I think he's a high floor guy who you have to develop. And that is like the high ceiling guys are polished to me. You're expecting them to come in and do really well. So I think that's always been a little bit of a misnomer about the NFL draft. So Owe I'm very happy with. You would be ecstatic to get him in the second round. And the Orlando Brown situation just was what it was. There's nothing they could do. So at this point, you got to think if they're passing on Forsyth, unless they've got unless they like Larnell Coleman, who's got the length and blah, 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 or some weird tackle similar to the Brandon Stevens situation, they are going to go bring in a Dennis Kelly or an Alejandro Villanueva.
Both. So here's the one to put a bow on at least my thoughts of this part of the topic. A prolific passing offense cures a lot of warts. And that's what the Ravens have been looking for. And as we were talking about KC, I mean, they put points on the board, and that covers up a lot of different flaws. So getting Bateman, you can't underrate the potential impact that has to
and a
the
great
offense.
pass protecting guard.
Yes, and exactly. So yeah, that can be the elixir to matching up with these other teams and getting over that hump that they haven't gotten past the divisional round in 8 years now, 9 years. So it's that's what's needed, and I love to see that DaCosta, despite all the posturing, went out and made that happen.
So that's 3 out of the past
That's insulting.
4.
I'm insulted by it, to be honest.
That's 3 out of the past 4 drafts with no second round picks, for what that's worth.
Which, honestly, good for them because they were fucking striking out left and right on them.
Voss, you mentioned that they're improving there, but can you really see them like turning into this like elite passing offense?
And I don't think they need to be elite. They don't need to be elite, but they need to be. I've said it before. How about the 28th most attempts, not the 32nd most attempts? Apparently, Roman was saying that they're remodeling the offense today, which is not necessarily what we heard out of Hardball in the first press conference to start the offseason, when he was kind of saying, we do what we do, and what we do is good enough, and get off my back. So I think you first of all, the first cornerstone is a historic rushing offense. The second piece is the best cornerback group in the entire league. And then the next phase, you improve the passing offense, make it get back up to that top 5 efficiency, and then you're good. Then you're good to go. And anything can happen. It's an oblong ball, and who knows if they can beat KC in a game coming up.
No, yeah, that's totally where I stand too. I think it just has to be like something like a really, really like something you can rely on if the defense starts figuring you out. So yeah.
When they stack the box, you have to be able to take advantage. That's really
they couldn't fall back on the passing offense against Buffalo, and that's what killed them. They couldn't do anything about it.
Yep.
I'll semi-agree with that. I think they couldn't fall back on it because the Buffalo D-line came to play and the Ravens did not, because we saw what the Buffalo D-line was capable of. And they shouldn't have been as good as they were. The Ravens should have been able to step up, especially with their offensive line blockers. But no Stanley is something that we continue to forget. Like, we always remember Stanley is on the roster, but we don't remember that he was not playing in that game, which kind of throws us off. But I like to point out what Jake mentioned previously, which was that the Ravens were striking out left and right on the drafting of second round picks, and I completely agree with him. 2020 was J.K. Dobbins. Good player, debatable whether or not you spend the pick on J.K. Dobbins, but it is what it is, and I'm looking forward to his next year. I think that's fair to say, at least. I hope that most of this group here would agree with that. 2019 didn't have one. 2018 didn't have one. 2017, they picked Tyus Bowser, who, yes, is still on the roster, is, yes, an excellent coverage linebacker, but he's not the pass rusher that we all hoped that he would be by this time. He was an athletic freak. He still is an athletic freak, but he hasn't produced the numbers that were very much hoped for. 2016 was Kamale Correa, was a failure here, and maybe not by his fault, but also could have been by the fault of somebody else, like defensive coordinator at the time, Dean Pease, wasn't utilizing him as well. 2015 was Max Williams, tight end. Didn't really pan out here. And that was one of the very first times that the Ravens have traded up in the second round to draft somebody. They really like Max Williams. I did too, but didn't pan out. 2014 was Timmy Jernigan. didn't really work out with the Ravens. Did all right with the Eagles. Won a ring with the Eagles, so good for him. Arthur Brown, 2013, very much did not pan out. Behind the scenes, I've talked to it's been almost 7-8 years now since Arthur Brown. The Ravens were really disappointed with him, and I even heard that behind the scenes that they were really displeased with his effort and who he was. The last
Who was that,
Arthur Brown. Arthur Brown.
Yeah.
Yep. 2013 draft was really just a shit show. Thank God they at least got Brandon Williams out of that.
That was
But
low-key a pretty good draft, honestly.
it was an excellent draft, but also not good at the top. But
No,
2013
it
was a
was
bad draft for a
weird
lot
because
of
you get Brandon Williams, you get Ricky Wagner,
Ryan Jensen, you get Ricky Wagner, you get Kyle
Juszczyk.
Juszczyk.
And then,
they had excellent picks there, but none of them at the top. Brandon Williams from Missouri Southern State JUCO was the first good pick on that draft. But John Simon was excellent in there too, but the Ravens had just too many talented players at OLB and D end at that point. But the most successful second round pick the Ravens have had in the last 10 years was Kelechi Osemele. Of the last 10 years, it's Torrey Smith and Kelechi Osemele. Other than that, they have not had a true successful second round pick. Yes, Tyus Bowser is good, but
JK?
Yes, JK. I'm just saying of all the guys that they've had as of late. JK's got a sophomore season still to show us, and all signs point to JK being talented. And I'm not trying to discredit that, but I most certainly wasn't a fan of a running back in the second round there, as were most of us that are in this group right now. But overall, they've really struggled in the second round of the draft so much that they haven't had much of a second round in the past few years. Maybe just because they were sick of whiffing on that. And
I think that's dumb though. You can't just give up on the second round.
I'm not saying that it's smart, Voss. Not by any stretch, but if you can just swap something and get out of the second and still get a top 32 pick instead, like they did with Adafe Owe instead. Excuse me. I was trying to get his first name right so much that I was missing on his last name, but. I agree with you. It's dumb. They should be able to hit on a top 64 prospect. It's piss poor that they're not doing so over the last 10 years so much that they've hit on only 3 of 10. 30% hitting on 30% of your second round picks is not good. Really disappointing, honestly.
Yeah, it is. That was Ozzy's bugaboo for the second half of his time as GM. I don't know. Back to this draft. I like Cleveland. I think that was a solid pick. I didn't want to guard necessarily, but I'm happy with the player. He's not, like you said, pedigree, size. He's the kind of guy you need to win those trenches. And the trenches, as much as we want to talk about devalue positions, the trenches still matter more than anything else. Looking forward, Spencer, who do you have your eye on?
Whew, what do they got? 130 and 134, and then what? 171.
I don't have
Are those the
pulled up.
picks.
Who's got it pulled up? I don't have it pulled up.
Trey Sermon to the 49ers. I just saw it like that a lot.
They traded up for him. They gave Trey with 2 fourths for him.
They should have. I love Trey Sermon.
It's 131, 136, 171, 184, and 210.
5 picks. It's not bad.
Tackle, you got to feel like they have some sort of plan. So I don't know. I'm just abstain from the tackle conversation. They're weird about tackles, the length stuff, and whatever. They got a DB. I'm looking at the defensive line. So Tonga out of BYU, I believe, is available.
Mm-hmm. Davion Nixon too, right?
Davion. He feels a lot like Jordan Elliott last year. Tufele, Twyman.
Bobby Brown. Did he go?
Jonathan.
I don't think Bobby Brown went.
Marshall.
Marvin Wilson.
I don't think Bobby Brown either.
John Marshall. Yeah. Togai from Ohio State.
Togai. I like Tonga the most out of those. I think in terms of need and fit. I like the fact that he's a taller, and maybe that the Ravens usually have more stout, stockier nose tackles, but Tonga's got some length, can disrupt passing lanes with his arms a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a solid idea. I guess what tight ends wise, I don't really know. I'm pretty my
Kenny
comfort's pretty
Yeboah.
bare there.
Yaboa, Brevin Jordan, did he go?
Oh,
I
Brevin
missed
Jordan,
probably the
right.
last 10 picks. Once you
Yeah,
jump
no,
on there.
Brevin Jordan didn't go, but I like Kenny Yeboah in like the 5th or 6th round.
Apparently,
like
there's
Yaboa.
this guy named Jacob Harris at a UCF, a tight end,
Right.
who
The
I didn't know
tester.
much about until like last week.
I don't think he played a ton. I think
And
he's
he's like 25 years old too. He's older.
yeah.
That's
Well,
not old.
Where
That's
did he go to
not old.
school?
You're telling me I'm the
UCF.
oldest one on this thing.
UCF. So
I feel like I'm
apparently
good
he's maybe
with
a
not
top
picking a
five guy.
tight end. I feel like I'm content with no tight end.
I think they'll take a running
Yeah, I
back.
agree, Frank.
I mean,
I
I'd be
think they'll take a
content
running
with it.
back.
And there's also Matt Bushman from BYU, like a pure pass catcher at tight end. But I mean, the further we get away, I was so bummed out when Hunter Long went off the board. I was like, man, that was my guy. And like after that, I'm just like, man, screw tight end. Like I'm cool with Josh Oliver. I liked him 2 years ago. Let's just roll with it.
I remember early mock drafts, of course, like, they change all the time, but early mock drafts, I'd like Wyatt Davis was the number one guy I'd see for the Ravens. Now he's a third round pick.
And he goes to the Vikings because Wyatt Davis himself said, I am best in a zone scheme. And the number one zone scheme, they're the opposite of the Ravens, the Vikings. They get
I think
Garrett Hall. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just saying, I think it's funny that he ends up going to Vikings, and his grandfather played for the Packers, like a legendary Packer, and he has been going to Vikings. So it's like, that's funny for me.
Plus his family, his dad is like a football actor too. So there's a little dramatic flair element there. There's a little narrative for you. There's a little storyline.
Darrisaw was a great pick for them, though. I mean, that's just like they fell into their lap.
2 years in
If
a
he
row.
can stay healthy, he's good to go.
Fall into their lap. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about a bad pick. We were kind of talking about J.K. Dobbins. Travis Etienne is kind of the J.K. Dobbins pick, just like on steroids, because 25 taking a running back just because he was the quarterback's teammate. That's brutal.
I mean, Etienne's been
I
mocked
like
in
him
the
as a
first round for a
prospect.
long time.
That's
I just didn't know he was going to the Jags. I didn't see that like at all. Like if
It
he's
was too
going,
cute. Everyone was like talking about that. It just felt like a cute thing people do on mock drafts.
He's going to be
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a running back 3 at some point this season, and Urban's going to fake a heart attack, and it's just going to be like, what's going on here? But yeah, it's going to be tough.
Then other guys, I'm trying to think. I guess they got the DB. I wouldn't count out another safety type, maybe.
me
Again,
either.
I still like those Cincy safeties for sure.
USC guy is the USC
Yeah,
guy.
the USD guy I like a lot too.
He's definitely a dime backer type. He's a hitter. He's a Mark Barron type.
Did Jamar Johnson go today?
No,
No,
he has a lot of
available.
character concerns too. Apparently, I don't know
What
what,
about
they are,
another
but-
edge? What about another edge? How do we
Edge?
feel about
Absolutely. Janarius
So we'll see
Robinson.
Jordan Smith in the 5th round would be cool for me.
Jordan Smith, I like a lot. He
I
has some
like
of the
Jordan
best
Smith.
pursuit speed in this class. He can really cover. He knows how to use his length as a tackler.
Long
Super
strider.
finesse. He can dip and ghost. He has good bend. He tested really poorly, but I think it was just him trying to put on too much weight. You saw it at the Senior Bowl. He was literally 6'6", ghosting dudes, bending the corner. I don't know if I love him in the Ravens scheme exactly, but I think they could do a lot worse. William Bradley King, of course, don't need to talk about him. I've talked about him 10 billion trillion times. Who else? Dalen Hayes.
I think Rashad Weaver. I think he's still
Rashad
available.
Weaver. He is. Patrick Jones, I do not like at all, but I think he
Give it
puts
to
the
the
Ravens
Vikings.
vibes. Good. That's a good fit for him. That's a better fit for
I
him.
see Ross
Vikings.
Did he? I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't-
Snowden. What do you guys think of Snowden?
Listen,
I didn't watch enough
A
of
lot
him.
of people talk about him being, treasonous and a little bit of a traitor. I think he did, some really important things, exposing some things that our government was doing, taking information. that otherwise wouldn't.
I like Snowden a lot. As
As a
late-
developmental guy, I think
rounder,
developmental.
6th rounder, I would be with it.
I don't know. Stevens is kind of like a line in the sand, in my opinion. It's like, okay, now we're done taking instant impact.
I saw a quote on
guys.
Twitter just
now
now
we're looking for
that said-
developmental.
I saw a
You're
quote
looking
on
for the
Twitter-
2023 guys.
Right.
I saw a
So-
quote on Twitter from him that said he expected to go in the 3rd round today, which maybe the media just has no idea what they're talking about. Brandon,
What about
Jeremiah
what about-
was high on it.
What about late round receivers? Who would you guys prefer?
Dez Fitzpatrick.
Terry.
I don't want one.
Terry.
I don't want any.
I agree with
Yeah,
either Tamori or Terry. I like Shi Smith a little bit too.
Terry,
But
Terry.
that was just kind of Senior Bowl stuff.
You have to get the thumbs up from Prochet first.
Darby-
before you take a late round
Darby's
receiver.
a decent late round guy. Smith Marset from Iowa. Emmer Tahibi from Illinois is like. I think if you're going to take a
Matter Bebe.
Matter Bebe, yeah. So if you're going to take a late round receiver, you want a high upside. I know you like Grimes too, Spencer, who I think has. So at this point, I think if you take a receiver, it's a boom or bust guy, and you hope for the boom. And if not, you cut it. You cut it.
I think
Simeon
Tamari and Terry is
Bielko.
like the definition of boomer bust guy, boss. Just Tamari and Terry to me,
Yeah,
it's like
for
he's one of
sure.
those guys. Is either he's going to hit or he's not, and if he doesn't, it's what it is. What it is.
Dan Moore, Texas A&M. I'm going to keep pounding that drum. I don't know what's up with Stone Forsythe. Maybe he's a jerk. But Dan Moore's feet are not great. I don't think I feel like he tested way better than he should have, but I like his grip strength. I like his hands, and I like him as a swing tackle and a developmental piece, very much so. He was a 3-year starter at Texas A&M at left tackle, and he definitely lost his fair share of reps, lost his fair share of games to some good pass rushers. But a guy that I liked at the Senior Bowl, a guy that I think is consistent, steady, reliable, swing tackle type with length. That would tickle me very much so. And
You got to
then,
get a tackle. You got to get a tackle.
What about
Terry.
Hudson from Cincinnati? He was like Bucky Earp's like fifth-ranked tackle early on in the process.
I think he's
Kinda
a
That's how you know that
guard.
he
I
was-
think he's a guard.
That's how you know Bucky Brooks is out of it, because Hudson is
No,
a 2-year
yeah,
player
you know
without
what,
length.
Josh, we're gonna go ahead and graduate you for bringing that name up. You're gonna go ahead and graduate. We'll bring you up.
James Hudson's graduating to guard. But other than that, I don't know. Linebacker wouldn't surprise me at all. Special teams linebacker type. Isaiah McDuffie, I have not watched one snap, and I saw that the Ravens apparently talked with him 3 times, and that kind of got out late. So that has all the
I'm
rumblings
insulted
of-
for Christian Welch. I'm insulted for Christian
What are you going
Welch.
to do with another linebacker?
Insulting.
You're going to carry
Biased, to be
6
honest.
inside linebackers?
You're going to cut Otara Alaka, and you're going to cut.
He's already cut that. He's not even included in the 5.
Friend of the pod.
not-
How about we calm down there?
Well, yeah, every other guest we have on the show gets traded or cut. So
Shut up. Okay, come on. Don't do that. Don't put that either.
Anthony Everett is gone. Let me tell you that. Anthony Everett.
Don't you put that on the
You
Ricky
know what?
Bobby?
You know what?
Quite insulting.
He's a valuable trade chip. I think he's a valuable
is.
trade
Yeah,
chip.
were people
could
not
be.
saying that could be a possible Julio trade thing?
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, for straight up, Julio Jones, Anthony Everett.
Oh yeah.
In a 5th rounder.
Oh, that's what we were talking
Falcons-
about in the Slack chat. I remember that now.
How
The
do you-
Falcons will be ready to go. They're like, yes, give us that corner. Yes, that's what we need competition
I
wise.
can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday.
Can we talk about Trey Lance's hair? Like, what the fuck is he doing?
Brillo pad situation.
It's a tough
Hey,
scene.
you gotta get that in
Hey,
there.
did you see the meme the one where they said that he looks like an actor playing Patrick Mahomes in a movie about Alex Smith?
I did see that. And I was quite accurate.
Like a little bit too muscular. Haircut's kind of wonky.
Yeah, just a
Right.
tad on the nose.
It's so funny. Brandon
Isn't
Stevens
that
is
bouncy enough?
already. Brandon Stevens is already kind of the James Prochet of the defense, because there's like this one clip of him winning a jump ball, and everyone's like, "This guy's amazing."
No, which is sick because all the hypebeast accounts are gonna like retweet that one video of that happening, and it's like, oh, Brandon Stevens gonna be a lockdown corner.
What if SMU
All the engaged-
SMU highlights never existed?
Yeah, they just everyone uncovers them as soon as their guys get drafted.
I'm gonna petition the Methodist religion to ban highlight tapes.
Listen, I'm Catholic, so I'm here for that. Let's shut them down, man.
This is like the equivalent of if you only judged a player by their best highlights, J.R. Smith in the NBA would be the greatest basketball player of all time. If you only judged a player by their
Nick Young,
highlights,
baby. Nick Young and JR.
J.R. Smith
Smith.
and his
JaVale
stupid
McGee.
highlights would be the greatest basketball player of all time. And that's how SMU is like
Yeah.
James Prochet and like Brandon Stevens maybe is going to be the best football players of all time.
Shout out
Aaron
SMU.
Mellett with his like reverse raptor catch backwards over a dude. Like he was going to be the new Randy Moss, but you know, it's not about
Here's a
your
guy-
best highlights. It's who you are even when you're at the worst. Damn it, Jake. I get it. I'm saying here's a guy and I'm talking about guys.
Here's a guy.
Here's a guy.
He might even
Here's
pop
a
off.
guy.
Though. He might even pop off.
So what's the rule
You
about
might.
the single digits now? Can any like rookie take one, or because they were saying all the guys
they
have to
got
like
to
pay a
earn 'em.
bunch of money?
Kyle
college-
Pitts is rocking it.
In college,
Kyle
a lot of
Pitts
the
doing 8, yeah.
coaches reserve the single digits for like their team captain guys, and like
Best
you have to.
players.
It's kind of like a privilege you have to earn.
I think right now it might be a little bit of a free for all, and then in like 5 years it'll be more of a thing. Like there'll be
I think
more
I saw a
layers.
thing where like guys had like if people already pre-ordered your jersey, you got like pay back a certain amount of money.
Yeah, that's what I
you
saw
sold,
too.
yeah, you sold this amount of your jersey sales. Like I think Leonard Fournette had to had like pay like a couple bands for people who bought
But-
his jersey.
Leonard
But I think
Fournette
all
loves.
the rookies don't have to pay, right? Because they're just
Yeah, because
coming in.
nobody's had theirs before.
Yeah. Okay.
You better believe I'm getting a Rashad Bateman jersey. I'm getting an Awa jersey as well.
You want to know how unlucky
I'm getting
I
a
am
Brandon
with jerseys?
Stevens jersey.
I'm getting a Ben Cleveland jersey.
Ben
I'm
Cleveland,
buying
there's gonna be
Voss.
guys that
I'm buying Voss a Brandon Williams jersey.
I currently in my closet right now, I have a CJ Mosley, a Joe Flacco, and an Earl Thomas. So I can
No,
see.
yeah, I was gonna say no.
Yeah, no more jerseys for you.
No,
more
I
jerseys for you,
I
John.
just rock the sweatshirts now. I'm not
My
trying to buy
dad got me
another
the Mosley jersey in 2014 or 2016. It was one of the two. And I was like, this guy for sure is sticking around forever because Mosley at that time hadn't got like super beefed up to where he lost all of his speed. And I was super hyped about it. And he's like, yeah, you think Mosley's going to stick around? I was like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And he
my
bought me the
cousin-
Mosley jersey. And like, I
had-
still like it.
My,
and I
my
loved his
cousin
time
got me
here.
the Earl Thomas. I
Yeah,
felt so fucking
it's rough.
I had
But
the
now I
CJ
just have the
Mosley
Ray
funny
Lewis. I have a Bernard Pierce jersey. I have a
wow.
Bernard Pierce jersey that one of my coworkers in Wyoming at a restaurant, the dish pit guy, found it on sale for $10 and gave me a Bernard Pierce jersey. So that's what I got to rock.
Hey, my wife bought me a Jimmy Smith jersey.
I
I
hate
think
you.
maybe for Father's Day or something.
I
Or,
hate you
I don't
so
know.
much.
And the day that it came, the day it was delivered was a day he tore his Achilles.
Oh,
Literally,
jeez.
and I also bought a signed Bolden jersey. Some guy like bought like a storage locker from a memorabilia store and had all kind of gear. And it was actually I bought it from the day that Bolden got traded. So I have a little bit of bad luck jersey stuff too.
That's a bad one.
I remember pretty vaguely, but the Browns game where Lamar's rookie season when the Ravens made the playoffs, I was like away with my family and we were like rushing back to our house so I could like watch the game, and I like caught the last three plays of the game, but I was in my CJ Mosley jersey when he had that interception, so it was pretty cool. That's my only good memory with that jersey.
We like that.
All right, Frank, give me 3 positions that they must address tomorrow.
Running back, inside linebacker, quarterback.
Yeah,
I think they're drafting a quarterback. The way this draft's going, I really do think a quarterback's coming in high.
could be.
No, but I would say I still want a safety. I still think they should get a safety.
I agree with
And
that. It's not a safety.
Still need a tackle. I think.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's another position that's like a must. Everything else is just like
Another edge.
I don't know where all these guys are going to go. Straight up.
D tackle, yeah. D-tackle.
There's
Roger
some
Watson
weird.
knows what
I think
he
there's some
knows.
weird post-draft moves coming with some trades or something. I don't know. The Ravens need a lot of players in general for 2022 and beyond, but I just don't know where all these roster spots are going to come in 2021.
So you
don't
flip
know.
a pick. You flip a 4th rounder this year for a 3rd rounder next year. So that
Yeah,
would be
maybe
the
I could
ideal
see that
move.
happening. I could see that happening for sure. That would make a lot of sense. But at this point, like roster spot wise, if they don't bring in an edge, then there's one there. Linebacker, maybe somebody comes in, competes. Right tackle, they need a tackle. They probably need 2 tackles. And other than that, I straight up don't know where the roster spots are. Because they've got, 5 picks left?
Yeah.
If I picks, do we think Justin Houston are we confident that that's going to
No.
happen, or how are we feeling about that?
Although Indy drafted 2 edge rushers, so that increases the chance that he doesn't go back to Indy.
Very good point.
but I'm not super confident. I before this draft, I thought
Dio Adeyingbo has a torn Achilles though too, so that's
yeah,
that's
he's a red gray shirt. Yeah, he's a red
Real
shirt.
real quick. We are at 491 subscribers for the Baltimore Beatdown YouTube page. I'm going to make this a little bit quicker than I did last time, but
Please
Take as much time as
subscribe
you need.
to Jacob and Spenny's YouTube channel, the Baltimore Beatdown channel here. They put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it, and they structured this live cast. They did yesterday's. They bust their ass doing live streams. So support them, subscribe to them, support them. Thank you very much. Like the stream.
Shout out to our family.
Like the stream.
Kyle, I love the final sentence of your instant reaction. Good luck to Stevens and the Ravens. Good luck. May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Yeah, really.
God shall it
Mercy
be.
in your soul.
I'm insulted.
I'm being honest, man. You know what, boss? Of all the guys I don't know, Brandon Stevens is one of them. Boss, you know, unfortunately, more than most, just how much I don't know about the NFL draft. And if you guys don't know about this guy, dude, boss, you could have been like, hey, the Ravens drafted Brandon Stevens, running back out of Cal State. I would have wrote the fucking article. I would have wrote it. I would have done it. And like that's just proves the point that like this is a guy nobody knows about, but nobody knows less than I do, unfortunately, about this. All right. So you can bully me all you want, but good luck to Brandon Stevens and the Ravens.
Oh wait, another thing. Amon-Ra St. Brown has not been picked yet. I know
Amon-Ra?
Yeah,
Goat name
I just
of the
said
draft?
that so wrong. I'm so
His
tired.
brother
Voss.
too, man. I thought his brother
Equanimous.
was going to go in the 3rd round, and he went in the 6th or 7th round.
Equanimous.
Yeah, and
He's
pretty- I love that kid. I love that kid coming into the draft. I wanted the Ravens to pick him in the 3rd round, and he was like 7th rounder, I think. And he finally started coming on a little bit, but that's kind of interesting. The St. Brown brothers, not the apple of the NFL's eye, like the pundits thought they were.
I feel kind of dumb because like I was like, oh yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown could be a steal in the 2nd round, and now he's available in the 4th. So
No, I honestly I'm like really surprised that he's still there because I feel like he was kind of everyone liked him day 2 for sure, day 2 at least.
Yeah, I thought he was like bought. I thought his floor was like 3rd round, but I had no idea he was going to last until the 4th. So
It's been a weird draft, unpredictable.
I'm just thinking back to like Jamin Davis being available in like every one of my PFF mock draft simulators.
That was like an error for them. They
Yeah.
had him as like the 40th player, and he would last to the 4th
And the
round.
other Kelvin Joseph too. They had like a bias against Kentucky guys for some reason. The last
I always picked him to make myself feel good because it was always an A+ grade. So I was like, oh yeah, man, I'm a genius.
So the thing that the Ravens have struggled with, and why I like the Cleveland pick, another aspect is they've really struggled like inside zone, being able to run the ball straight downhill through the A gap, especially since Marshall Yanda's been gone, and that is like the Ben Cleveland specialty is being able to down block and double combo a nose or a one tech and move things out. So with him and Zeitler both, him and Zeitler have pretty similar frames. Cleveland is a little more ridiculous, and Zeitler's a little bit more quick. But I like that pick a lot. I think they really, really, really hated their guard situation last year, and we see that now.
yeah,
which
I
is
think
crazy because they took a lot of guards. You know, they take a guard in the 3rd or 4th round.
Tyree
Every single
Phillips
year.
was
Guys,
like the
guys,
Brandon Stevens of last year. Like those are similar picks. It was like, oh, okay, where did those come from? So Tyree Phillips, I was like, where did in the world? I knew he was on Last Chance U, and that's all I knew about him.
Right.
And
the,
no
the
one
thing
had
that
that high.
the thing that kind of frustrates me with their approach with like their late day 3 pick, like day 2 picks, like the past 2 years, it's like look, I know you're viewing that. It's almost like they view it as like an extra 4th round pick, where it's like, no, there are other guys on the board who are rated higher and would fit some of your needs, but instead it's like, hey, let's take a fly on this guy. He might be something
Right.
one day.
Well, that's the
That's a
thing,
fair
because then
point.
what did they do this offseason? They jumped through hoops and had all these meetings and did all kind of stuff and game the system to preserve those crucial compensatory picks from Judon and Ngakoue, and then they're taking a flyer on Stevens in the third round. So, you can't.
I mean, they
sit
might
there
have
and say
legitimately had
that's-
him graded there, though. That he might have been their 90th player on the overall in this class.
I think that's
All right. I mean, I think that he
would've-
probably was, but still, it's not.
it doesn't make it right.
You're not getting a stud player, plug and play, potential Pro Bowler with a compensatory fourth rounder. End of story.
Like
The
to me,
margin,
like
the
when I
margin between those two options
End of
is not
story.
that significant
I like that.
at the end of the day.
Right. You got
I mean,
my
to me,
point.
my whole thing is like if you're gonna use that pick on a somebody who I don't know, like I said, maybe they had him rated higher. But I saw like Lance Derlin had him projected like a fifth rounder. If you're gonna use that pick on somebody who's like you're kind of taking a flyer on, why not just package that thing and move up earlier in the draft? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like with the third round pick with those like other guys like Stone Forsythe and Davion Nixon on the board, I would much rather you've seen use that pick on someone like that instead of just like, hey, here's a guy that he's a guy.
I mean, I'm watching Ben Cleveland Bama tape right now, and he's
Here's
literally
the
lighting
guy.
it up.
Yeah, I like Cleveland. I'm happy with
But with
Cleveland.
the
I really
comp
am.
picks, I think the sneaky thing that it allows them to be able to trade in season for those types, like those Yannick Ngakoue moves, those Marcus Peters moves, because you have those comp picks. So it's like you're ahead of the 8 ball in terms of having some draft capital. It allows you some flexibility there, and it feels like DaCosta's heavy bop is to make in-season trades.
That's a great
So,
point. That's
Yeah.
That's a
I like
sneaky
More
value.
ammunition. More
Yeah, I'm a
trading.
fan of using comp picks as ammunition, but not so much a fan of using them on flyers on guys who might not make the team in 2 years.
Right.
That's a fair point.
Which, listen, that's a possibility. He could also be a solid player.
So I had Cleveland as my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th interior offensive lineman. So if you get the 8th best off interior lineman in a class that's well known or well regarded for off interior linemen, I think that's a really solid pick in the third round. No question. I like that pick a lot. I'm really coming around to it.
Yeah, I just think they were
I
kind of
think
like
you're
tired
talking
of
about
getting.
3 really
Go ahead.
good first 3 picks. No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying, I just think they were kind of like tired of getting like pushed around on the interior, and like we need a big SOB, who's gonna like move people down in there, and like it's like watching, what they show with Ben Cleveland here. I'm like, damn, that dude is big. And
I think I low key kind of think they keep an open mind, and they just kind of like it's not always BPA, but it's kind of like a modified BPA where it's like, yeah, we're gonna get this guy and he's gonna improve us this year, and it's like it's not necessarily thinking about like the Bills game where they get pushed around in one game, and it's like, it maybe kind of thinking beyond it's just the one situation. It's thinking more about a macro kind of long term type of thing, which I think that's probably good. Maybe they could be better served to taking a different approach at times, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Jake's like the voice of reason. Like, you ever seen that cartoon where they have like the good, like the devil on the one and the angel on the one shoulder and they're like whispering in your ear? I feel like Jake's always like whispering like the voice of reason into my
He
ear.
is the voice of reason. That's it's not something that I hear too often, but I'll take it.
So how do we grade if dish out grades for maybe each pick or just overall? How are we feeling on the spectrum?
I'm warming up to the Ben Cleveland pick. I'm actually like, if I were to give it a letter grade, I'd be like, I'd give that a B because I like Ben.
B-.
Overall, I give him probably an A- B+ so far.
I was grading this the Ben Cleveland trade. Like overall, I give it an A-.
The whole draft as a whole right now?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, then definitely in the A's for sure. I mean, you got Bateman.
I'm gonna go B, because I don't love the Stevens pick. I don't. And
Yeah, that's
you're
why I put an
hater boss?
A-.
there's always these players and like, oh, so and so's falling down the board, nobody likes him, and then Donovan Peoples-Jones is taken in the 6th round and has a good start to his career. And sometimes
Jordan
the
Elliott,
media,
both Browns.
yeah, and the media,
Gets
I
it
saw
right.
Yeah, I saw something the other day where like the media mock drafts were more accurate than like what the teams actually do or something.
It was the war. PFF's war on the
There you
consensus
go.
board was
Exactly.
higher than the teams.
Exactly.
In terms of draft
So,
position.
so I think it is. You give them the benefit of the doubt, but you can also say, I kind of wish, like I told you guys when we did the preview, when we did the bracket a couple weeks ago, or I guess that was last week. Who even knows what day it is right now? And I said, I wish they had four. I hope they're getting 4 impact guys.
I think they got 3 to start.
They have 3. So
3 out of 4
I'll
is
give them a
good,
B.
though.
Yeah, so I'll give them a B, and let's see what they do tomorrow. That can go to an A. That can go to a C. It could, it could go anywhere. But right now, I'd say B personally.
I feel like
Alright,
if they get a tight end tomorrow, like to be that number 3 tight end, or just compete for it, you'd have your 4th contributor. But I'm not sure, unless you get like maybe like a Sean Wade to play like a slot corner or something like that. Unless you get like a slot cornerback to back up Tavon Young, I'm just not sure how many like instant contributors you might be able to find tomorrow. Unless, like, say you get a guy like a Davion Nixon or a Stone Forsythe.
Yeah.
Do we think they're taking 5 players? Or do they trade up, trade back, maybe take 6?
I think they make a
trade.
trade of some sort. I think there's one trade made.
I think they trade a pick for a pick next year. That'll be my prediction.
Trade back and pick up another pick next year.
Yeah, usually if you
I
trade
think so.
a pick from this year, you pay a 1-round premium. So if you trade a 5th rounder this year, you get a 4th rounder next year in return. And they need players next year. They don't need players this year, so I think that makes some sense.
All right, boys, I'm gonna hop off. It's getting late. Everyone, go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm doing my part.
Yeah, true.
We're 7 away. We're 7 away.
Yeah. See you guys.
All right, buddy.
See you, buddy. Good to catch up. What else? So
I
on
mean,
offense.
They could realistically draft a center still.
All right.
Manette, Dahlman, Trey Hill out of Georgia as well.
Would we like that though? I don't know. I don't know if I'd be down with that. That's I feel like that's overkill at a certain point.
I think they need tackles,
I don't know.
man.
Who has been the best value pick thus far in the draft? Bateman,
For the Ravens?
Owe, yes, for the Baltimore Ravens. Who has been the best pick by value specifically? Best player.
Yeah.
I think Bateman.
Would you still say Bateman? Okay.
Yep.
Unanimous. So I have this day 3 targets. I'm going to author an article tomorrow morning. Forsythe still available, right?
Yep.
How about Dante Smith out of ECU? Anybody have? a
Yeah,
hot one on
I
him?
liked his performance at the Senior Bowl. I think he's a work in progress for sure.
For the length.
Trending upwards. He's pretty nasty for being a little bit light, but the length wasn't outstanding. I don't like him at guard. I think he's way too naturally high cut like a basketball player at guard. A lot of people are putting him at guard, but I wouldn't hate him at tackle at all. And if he's at this point, considering who's still on the board, like if that's the 171 pick or something, I would be down with that. But
How
I think
about
he doesn't
David
fit.
Moore?
I think he doesn't fit the big boy strategy they're going with. They're going with the heavy boys. David Moore would be a home run at any point in this draft going forward
Okay.
for me.
I liked the USC defensive tackle. The other one, Marlon. I can't pronounce his last name.
Tuiapuopo.
Yeah.
Didn't he go? I thought he went.
He's still
Maybe
available. I saw him on the TV screen
Oh no,
right here.
the guy from UCLA. They got some tricky defensive tackle names this year. That's for sure.
He
Yeah, you
he has a nasty push pull move. He can do a one arm push pull that's pretty disgusting that he does consistently. That I like a lot.
All right, boys.
So the Polynesian presence up here in Alaska is like really big,
Strong.
and so you should hear some of the white announcers trying to pronounce their name. Tua sama with the tackle. And sometimes I gotta help them because you'll have angry parents come up to the broadcast.
Huna
booth,
nua
like,
apua. Yeah,
like,
bitch.
hey, it's Tula Masali, not Hookah. Like, what are you talking about?
Melifanu didn't go yet. He's still out there?
he
He
went.
did.
Yeah, he went.
How about Rochelle from
He went to the
Central Arkansas?
Lions.
Who could say?
Rochelle?
Rochelle? No.
No, I was saying
Melifonwu.
Melifonwu went to the.
He's still there. I think Trill Williams is still there. I think Shakur Brown is still there.
Gowan.
Shakur
Taylor.
Brown's the cornerback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Michigan State.
Yeah.
It's a deep corner class, man.
Did
Mukwame.
Trey Brown go? The
Mukwame
Oklahoma
still there.
Trey Brown is still there. Trey Brown was good at the Senior Bowl, man. Ambry
like Trey
Thomas
Brown.
is still there.
I thought I saw Ambry Thomas go.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he went.
Okay.
He went.
He must have been late third round, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he was late.
There's a lot of defensive tackles left, a lot of corners left, a lot of safeties left, and WBK.
I really thought James Wiggins would be a third round pick. I really did. That was where I thought his range was.
There's only been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only been 6 safeties taken so far.
Nasil
kinda
Green is still there too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Johnson.
probably one of my favorites on the board overall. One
Johnson
of my
is
highest
still
rated
there.
players on the board.
Thank you very
Get out
much
here, Kyle.
for having me on here. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off.
Of course.
Appreciate you
Sounds
all.
good.
Appreciate Jake, Spenny. Subscribe. We're 7 away from 500. Shout out Frank for repping the Baltimore Beatdown shirt. Unlike everybody else here, not a big deal.
I mean, I don't have his shirt, so
I know you don't. You were here before that, so you're excused from that, Josh. You're good. I appreciate you. And you
I
are.
had mine on the other day.
Yeah. I don't wanna-
No, Boss wears it quite often. I'll say that.
Well, Jake, you don't.
Listen,
mine's
you
in-
know,
mine's in like a-
I'm
I
like
just
the
found mine.
guitarist. I'm not going to wear the T-shirt of the band. You know.
Mine was in a suitcase that I had when I was traveling. I wore it when I was traveling, so you're welcome for that.
I don't care.
No, I got mine
Okay.
right there. I'm gonna put it on display on the wall frame at some point when
True.
I will listen. I will.
All right. Appreciate you, boys. Appreciate the stream. Great work. Take care. And we'll be back for day 3. And then my favorite part of the draft, undrafted free agents.
Oh yeah,
Let's
that's gonna be
go!
that is your Super Bowl.
Let's get a backup long snapper to make sure the new long
Nick
snappers.
Moore needs a
Nick
backup
Moore.
long snapper.
That's what I call a primo position.
Peace.
Sharpens iron. Iron
Oh,
sharpens iron.
Tylan Wallace is still on the board.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about him.
I think teams are worried about his knee,
They must
very
be.
much so.
It was Nico.
His
I
knee
went-
or his knee or his
Play
twin brother's knee.
I think there's a truth to that, though, man.
Both.
I think
That's
there's
why they're
truth to
worried.
it.
I'm telling you, there is a conspiracy that because his identical twin has 3 ACLs and he has an ACL, that they think he's highly likely to not be
But
able
it's
to
the
have.
same. I think that's. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
They think it's a genetic thing.
I think it's a genetic thing. I think,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it makes sense to me in my
If
brain.
identical twins tear their ACLs, it's
Right.
like,
They got weak ACLs. What are you going to do?
If the Ravens
Yeah.
grabbing
Yeah.
Jordan in the 4th round, would y'all be cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Once
I'd
you
like
take
it.
once you take Stevens, it's flyer time.
Right.
Take a flyers.
Jordan,
Anything goes. Anything goes.
Basildine, Wiggins, all those DTs we talked about. Running back. I think they're going to take a running back. Watch. Jake Funk tomorrow, 6th round.
That's the one. That's the one running back I'd be cool with. That's it.
That's it, huh?
Or Gainwell?
Not
Gainwell's
Raheem
still there.
Boyd,
Vaz is like, nah, he can be in a UDFA. He can get signed.
not Jared Patterson. How about Eli Mitchell
Patterson
from,
can run, man.
from Louisiana, man? He was a 10
He had-
out of 10 tester.
Yeah, he's a burner for sure on tape as well. That'd be
I really
interesting.
want to tackle tomorrow.
Gainwell's on
Yeah,
the
Kenneth
board.
Gainwell. He's still there.
Demetric Felton. He's a hybrid.
Michael Carter's still there. isn't he?
Michael
He
Carter.
was supposed to be the number 2 running back in the class for a while.
A lot of people had him. Some people had him number 1.
That was crazy. He wasn't even the best running back on his
Yeah,
team.
I saw him walk to Arizona a lot in like the 2nd or 3rd round.
Herbert, Chubbard, Jamar Jefferson, Evans out of Michigan.
Brandon Stevens was a captain. He wore the C on his jersey.
I think Evans out of Michigan. That seems like a. I just really
Chuba-
want to tackle tomorrow. Out of anything, if they walk away from tomorrow without a swing tackle, I'll be disappointed. Other than that, we'll see what they do. Hopefully, they
A
pick a guy.
tackle
I
and a
like.
D tackle, and I don't really care what else.
Yeah, fair
An
enough.
offensive tackle, a defensive tackle, and I think they're good to go.
You
think
you
there's
just you just need another defensive tackle. You can't like realistically go into this season with just the guys that you have. Yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen with Roger Washington, but like after this season, like it's the coverage is gonna be really bare outside of Madubuike and Wolf and maybe Washington if he's still on.
I mean, counterpoint to that is they only play like 1.8 defensive tackles per snap or something like that. You know, they're just not in base a whole lot. Definitely a need for next year if they have Campbell and Bewell and Wolf and Matabike. I think that's plenty enough to get through this season. Although it is 17 games too.
I straight up just
consideration.
want someone to push Washington and Ellis. Like I want 3 guys competing for those 2 spots. I like that.
Ideally, I'd love Davion Nixon because I just feel like he fits the mold of the kind of transition they're making on defensive line, trying to get more athletic, more guys that can kind of move in space a little bit more. You don't really want too many space eaters like Brandon Williams and Michael Pierce. I just feel like Davion Nixon is the kind of agile guy at the line of scrimmage to where okay, he kind of fits that mold.
So how do we feel if they don't take a safety then? Because that was one of the biggest needs, right? And they
Geno Stone time, man.
I kind of think Stevens is a safety, right?
Yeah, that's what Daniel Jeremiah was saying, that he projects more to a safety. So I mean, if that's the guy, that's the guy you're going to put, at safety, kind of rotate in there, special teams work his way up, then okay. But
have they drafted a non-safety and put them at safety ever?
Yeah, that's the thing.
No, Marshall is a safety in my mind. I think he should transition. To
Marshall,
safety.
they used to say in
I forgot about him on
In
Marshall.
high school, they said he should have been a safety.
And then
Been
at
hurt.
USC, they said he should have been a safety. And now in the NFL, they're like, he should be a safety. And I'm never going to be a safety.
I mean, he transitioned Webb to safety.
He's the Bradley Bozeman of defense.
So are you
Bozeman
comfortable?
was the Go ahead.
Are you comfortable with Stevens or Marshall getting playing time as the third safety?
I can't comment on Stevens.
No.
If there's an injury, that's what we've talked about, right?
I mean, we
They
haven't
could,
seen a lot. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking. And we're also talking about dime. And none of us have seen enough of Stevens to make a judgment.
Yeah.
But if he's been playing corner,
Then
you can't
even
feel
more so.
confident that he's going to be a week. God forbid Chuck Clark, rolls an ankle week 1 that he's going to step in. I don't think so.
I just see a comment here that it says Cleveland's having a 10 out of 10 draft. Like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is like Mark Barron. Like he's not that. I feel like he's really not that high of an impact player. Like I don't think he's this foundational piece that you build a defense upon at all.
Do you think Mark Barron is
Cassidy.
his floor or is his ceiling?
Like not his. I think his ceiling's a little higher than Mark Barron's, and he can defend RPOs well and stuff. But I really don't think that Owusu-Koramoah is that like huge, big deal, or Cleveland got this big deal. It's like everybody put him too high. He's not a linebacker. He doesn't cover deep. He's good at defending RPOs, which is a nice thing to have against the Ravens. But like, I don't see him as this big deal. And everyone's like, Cleveland got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a 215-pound linebacker-ish that never played deep coverage, and everyone's calling him a safety, but he never played safety. He was a rover. He was like a move will that didn't play downfield and blitzed and stuff, and it was sick. But like, you're not going to come rock NFL running backs like that. Like the big hitters in college very rarely end up being big hitters in the NFL like that. The guys that don't wrap up, that don't tackle through, all that kind of stuff. Fish Trainer Productions commenting here. People keep saying guys can cover Kelsey. No one can cover Kelsey. Like I've seen two comments saying this guy can cover Kelsey. No, they fucking can't. They can't cover Kelsey. I don't think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah can cover Kelsey.
I think the media just feels so bad about hyping him up so much. Like, hey, we gotta make it seem like they really got to steal here because we did all these promos on this dude. Even did a little feature story about how they did the little mass projection thing, the way he hits people. We got to pump him up now.
Yes,
it's because he was mocked in the first a lot,
right?
And that's just what people look at. So if you're getting him at 52, that naturally just seems like a steal. I mean, I think it's good value. All things
I think he can be an
considered,
effective player, but I just don't think he is a foundational piece of a defense. I don't think you're like, oh, this is a day one starter who's going to make an impact, and that to me is a first round player. So I just don't get like the obsession with him, and it's been bugging me for a long time, and I try to keep my mouth shut a little bit, and I guess I'm like setting myself up to be dunked on later, but I just was like, why the fuck would you draft him in the first round?
No, man,
and
stick your neck out. And
now he doesn't go in the first round, so it's like, okay, maybe I'm not an idiot, but then maybe I am an idiot and all the teams are idiots and whatever. So that's the way of the world, but ultimately I don't see how he is this like transcendent player with his skill set. And the big hits on the highlights, it's highlight hype. Him hitting a running back that doesn't see him coming because he processed well in college is not going to be the same. Go fucking try that shit on J.K. Dobbins. I promise you. He's not going to be bowling through J.K. Dobbins, and he didn't do it when they played Ohio State. So,
or Lamar Jackson, and he just, ends up coming up for air. No, missed me.
Amari Rogers sunned him multiple times in one game, like ran through him and stiff-armed him multiple times.
Oh, yeah, I saw that the first time they played, right? Or the
yes,
second time
and I was like, okay, this is supposed to be this, like, incredibly physically imposing dude. I don't know. Long story short, I think he's a fine player. I think he can process. He can help in against RPOs and in coverage, but I don't get the, top 15 hype and stuff. Like, I would have preferred Zaven Collins in pretty much any defense to do some similar things.
Sure.
And I think that, that's
Let's get Cassidy in here. Let's get
Cassidy, get up in here.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm chilling. What's up?
You look like you're chilling.
Really cool, to be honest.
Give us your draft thoughts.
I mean, not the positions I would have picked, not the players I would have picked for the last three, but I mean.
Well, you were actually messaging me earlier today. You're like, dude, fucking Brandon Stevens, like they need to get this guy. He's like a huge like difference maker. So like, I was really happy for you when that happened, but otherwise,
I didn't want to take credit for that, but
for sure.
But no, I mean, like they're all players, and I'm like, I'm sure they're good, but they're just not the guys that I would have picked. But.
It's every draft, that is every Friday night day 2 draft. It's like, okay, it's like the Dolphins fan like clapping, like, yeah, good, good player,
Chilling, man. He's chilling.
Which I appreciate. I like that.
But the thing, so the most like not happy that I was with Oweh, but. The last time that I was that upset about a pick was JK, and he's nasty. So that means that Oweh should have a bright future ahead of him.
There you go. Same conference too.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, that should be.
At least he has a sick chant, dude. Away.
That is going to be fucking tight.
One sack.
When the lads are all vaxxed up in the nosebleeds, just fucking getting after that. I'm ready for that. I'll say that much.
All right, guys, I gotta go hop off too. Gotta go put my son to sleep. It's 9:00, so about half an hour past his bedtime. So I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow, though.
All right,
buddy. I'm about to get off, and I'm about to get some articles fired off. So I'm gonna hop off as well.
Give the family our best, Josh.
All right, we'll do.
I'm about to get going soon as well.
All right, well, we might as well call it there then.
Sounds good, guys. Let's go day 3. On to day 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna have some fun with it.
Yep. Good chatting with you guys.
Absolutely.
You too, buddy. Have a good night.